to score. Perdomo to Reno to second. It's 3-1 Diamondbacks in the eighth. The 26-year-old righty rocks and fires, and Carroll drives one deep to center field. Way back and gone. Corbin Carroll with a 3-run home run. It's a 7-run seventh, and the Diamondbacks lead 9-2.
Breaking news from baseball, where the rich are getting richer. The two-time reigning World Series champion Dodgers have agreed to a blockbuster deal for the two-time reigning AL Cy Young Award winner in Tarek Skubal. In return, the Dodgers are sending pitchers River Ryan and Brady Smith and outfielder Zaire Hope to Detroit.
All right, welcome in, Roc and Manuch with Jim V out here at Wright Toyota. I want to start today by telling you what week this is. This is Larry Fitzgerald week. It's Saturday at noon in Canton. He becomes a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2026. And the man that is presenting him, putting the gold jacket on him, putting the sheet over that bus, or taking it off the bus, is his son, Devin. 17 years, one team, 2004 to 2020. Never played it down for anybody but the Arizona Cardinals. 1,432 catches, 17,492 yards. Both of those numbers are second all time. The only man in history of professional football ahead of him is Jerry Rice. 9,000-yard seasons, 11 Pro Bowls, 121 touchdowns. And then there's 08, because if you were here, you remember 08. And that was 546 receiving yards in the one postseason, 7 touchdowns, both playoff records, and 2 minutes and 37 seconds left in Super Bowl 43. He catches a slant, splits down the middle of the Pittsburgh defense, goes 64 yards to put the Arizona Cardinals ahead in the Super Bowl. But we know the Cardinals lost that game, and everybody in the state knows how that ended. But that run is still the best month in this franchise that has ever had, and he was the reason for it. We'll talk about that throughout the afternoon. Now here's what I love about timing. This is part of what nobody's talking about. Thursday night, the Cardinals opened the preseason in the Hall of Fame game in Canton, in the Canton-Akron area against Carolina Panthers. Larry Fitzgerald, a Cardinal, and there he will go in the Hall on Saturday. So you got two franchises playing in the football game, two franchises with a man in the class, and the Cardinals are the opening act for Larry Fitzgerald's weekend. So the script could not be better than that. That's a good thing, because this football team showed up Sunday and looked terrible. Jacoby Brissett threw 2 interceptions in teamwork, both of them to Cody Simon. First team offense never found a thing. And this is 2 days after Michael Forbes stood up there and called Friday the best practice of camp. So we got a quarterback job that is not settled, a receiver room that hasn't sorted itself out, and a football team that went 3-14 a year ago, walking on national television on Thursday night. Now, it's not all football today, because today is also the deadline in baseball. 3 o'clock our time, the clock runs while we're on the air. The Diamondbacks are home tonight, holding the wild card spot by nothing at all, basically. And San Diego 1 game back. They walk into Chase Field tonight with 4 straight, and then the Dodgers on Friday. And the Dodgers, okay, already, as we know, 10 games up on Arizona, went out Saturday night and got the 2-time Cy Young winner, best pitcher in baseball, as you heard as we started the show. And now Mike Hazen has got, I think he's got about $6 million in a thin farm season, and a team in front of him just got better. So that's the show today. Rudy Carpenter is going to join us to talk about the Cardinals and what Thursday actually means. Barry Bloom on the deadline and how that's happening. Frank Sanders will also stop by on the receiver room. We got Fouhy on sports. Phone lines are always open at 602-230-0620. And Larry Fitzgerald week. So 17 years, 1 uniform, and Saturday his son puts him in the Hall of Fame.
And originally his dad, Larry Sr., was going to present him, and unfortunately passed about a month and a half ago. I just see Larry Fitzgerald. I think it's just all the great catches he had in big-time games. You talked about the short dig route for the touchdown in the Super Bowl. I think of some of the big catches had against the Eagles in the NFC Championship game that year in 2008. I think of some of his very first catch ever against Hall of Famer Aeneas Williams. Josh McCown to Larry Fitzgerald his rookie year against the then St. Louis Rams. I mean, legend Larry, catching the ball I don't know if I ever saw him drop a pass. I think I saw one time in the 17 years of watching this Cardinals team, Larry Fitzgerald drop a pass. But if it was big time, if it was a big play needed, it was go to Larry. If it was a guy that could high point the ball, take it away from the defenders, it was Larry Fitzgerald. Mr. Consistency. And we always talk about guys, hey, who's going to be consistently consistent that can answer the bell week in and week out, hardly missed any games at all in those 17-year career. And the amount of quarterbacks he had over the years, and to have that kind of prowess, with the kind of quarterbacks and the different quarterbacks he had, just speaks volumes of the kind of receiver he is and the kind of individual he is and the philanthropic ways of life throughout Phoenix, Arizona. So Devin, the freshman at Notre Dame, played at Brophy High School. His last 4 years is at Notre Dame. I'm sure do an outstanding job as we look at the memories this entire week of one Larry Fitzgerald. Just a phenomenal player on and off the field.
All right, so D-backs have not made a move as of yet. Nothing announced as I look at most of the trackers. Nothing for Arizona. There have been some good moves out there, and Freddie Peralta. Arizona was scouting him. Rays got him yesterday. Who else do we see? The left. Luis Garcia. He went to the Yankees, a first baseman. That could have made sense. Brooks Raley, the lefty, who I thought Arizona might get. The Phillies got him. Who else are we looking at out here? There's a few guys, but of course, no one's going to Arizona right now. And you wonder, because fans are sitting there and they're going, what the WTF? Let's go.
Yeah, 2 hours left.
The Phillies, they're basically the same spot, and they're making all kinds of moves.
Yeah.
You know, they picked up one of the best contact hitters in baseball in a race.
Reyes.
And, he's a three-time batting champ. He turned himself into a legitimate second baseman this year, and that would have been a nice pickup for Arizona, but that didn't happen. So Philly gets the pitching, gets bat. Exactly what Arizona needs.
Yeah, and also I think everybody talks about the Dodgers getting Scooble. Well, also picked up Bubic from the Royals. Rutschved from the Mets. They had 3 other moves that they had in reference to them.
They didn't even need to make them.
They did, but they're looking to get better. They're looking to try to win this thing 3 in a row.
They just have so much in their farm system. They have stuff to move.
Sure.
Arizona brings up everybody they have that's any good in their farm system.
Yeah, and I think the Scooble move is, it's one of those things. All right, good.
Player.
Go get him. You get him for a year.
He's probably the only guy that they can. He's probably the Dodgers probably the only team that can pay him for next year. He's going to get like $400 million.
Sure, and I think he's going to get $9 million here this year, the balance of this year. When I looked at this, I think it's, hey, you know what? If you can make the moves, if you can afford the individuals, go make the moves to try to assure you of winning a World Series. And I think the Dodgers have done that. You look at some of the other teams that have done a few things. I mean, you look at the Guardians. I mean, they acquired Adele from the Angels. They got another bat. So you're seeing a combination. You look out throughout the entire major leagues, you see some of the bats that have been acquired, the bullpen, some of the starters that are being acquired. And I would hope that Mike Hazen, I'm sure they're taking a good hard look. They only got like 2 more hours or less than 2 hours now. The trade deadline's 3 o'clock our time, 6 o'clock Eastern.
Go get that. He's got to pull something out of his hat.
Well, I'm looking for a first baseman or maybe another starter. I think,
of course.
I think
everybody's looking for Manuch.
Yeah, I know, but
how about Hazen?
Well, I hope he does make that move to pull the trigger and go get.
Because he hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah,
he's going to give up too much to get what he wants.
You know what? Here's
could have done these deals weeks ago.
I would agree with you, and I think that the most glaring scenario, not only having your starters on the mend, is at that first base position. You can't. I don't think you win a pennant first base by committee. You just can't. So I think the one kid I think of is the kid from St. Louis. He's a steady bat. He's a power bat. He's pretty steady. And if you are going to go get a starter, well, you're telling, I think, a lot of the fan base that, hey, look, your other guys, in looking at Soroka, Nelson, maybe even Corbin Burns are probably not going to come back. But if you do, go make that move, because right now, you look at Drake, and you look at the scenario with the 2 young guys, he and Bratt, in the starting rotation on a regular basis. Sooner or later, that's going to catch up with you when you only have really technically 3 veteran major league pitchers on this roster right now. And I think those are some of the things that Mike Hazen, I would hope, would look to get that cured And then on top of that, I'm just very curious to see what they do in the bullpen, if anything, with the bullpen. And I don't know. I think Paul Sewald is right on schedule again after the other night, giving up the 5 runs. It's just like either a couple things got to happen. They got to readjust him. I mean, you had a lead, and he gave up 5 runs to give this Guardians team a chance to come back. So I think those are some of the 3 keys I'd look at. But my priority, I knew, would be a legitimate, solid first baseman at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, that's what everybody's been talking about. It's clear if you watch this baseball team, first baseman, and some more pitching.
But why the hesitation by Hazen?
I don't know. Maybe there's not much out there. There's no inventory.
Yeah.
Maybe there's no inventory. I mean, it could be as simple as that. Mike Hazen may say that after this is all said and done. Hey, there wasn't anybody that wanted to play. Nobody wanted to make some moves, and that could easily be the case. That's why you need to get ahead of this when there were some first basemen out there. But obviously, I just really think that the Diamondbacks don't have much to trade.
Well, I think that's it right there, Rock. There wasn't much to trade, or they want too much from the farm system. I mean, off-injured Jordan Lawler. I mean, that kid, would they give him up? I mean, once he's
that'd
injured.
be tough to give her a first-round pick like that.
So some teams may say, look, okay, we'll give you this and this, but we want Lawler on the package. We want so-and-so in the package. Lourdes Gurriel, he's injured. He hasn't really done much of anything the entire year, but he's injured. So if you're going to give up some of the goods of guys that played major leagues these last couple of years, I think you got to get something in return. Well, you're not only going to get a rental player, but you got somebody that you're going to sign or re-sign for next year to keep it that stalwart. So you're not going through this each and every year at the trade deadline going, hey, it looks like we're going to be pretty solid in the wild card. We need to get this versus go get it and go get yourself solidified early on in the season so you're not scrambling the last couple weeks to make the wild card spot.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I think a lot of Diamondback fans would have liked to, seen some trades throughout the morning and over the weekend. I think people have been really excited about that. But, of course, that was not the case. All right, we'll get to our replay rewind next. We got Rudy Carpenter in 15 minutes right here, Wright Toyota, right on the corner, right on the price, Wright Toyota in Scottsdale.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I'm Kevin Rowe from Lerner Rowe, and we've been serving Arizonans for 20 years. Make the best choice after an accident. Call 977-1900. That's 977-1900.
Lerner Rowe, it's a way to go. Call 977-1900. 977-1900.
Hey, it's Jimmy B. Football season is here, and there's never been a better time to grow your business. Partner right now with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, with live endorsements, show sponsorships, featured segments, remote broadcasts, and so much more. YouTube, social media, and commercials, all built around your goals and your budget. Visit rocandmanuch.com and click advertise. Let's grow your business together.
When hot is not an option, Stay Cool delivers. From patios to warehouses, shops to summer events, Stay Cool's Slim Cool Elite and Cool Cube mobile air coolers deliver more air for less money. They're rust-free and backed by more than 40 years of experience keeping you cool. Available now online at Home Depot, Lowe's, and Tractor Supply. Shipped to the store or right to your door. Visit staycool-products.com. Slim Cool Elite and Cool Cube. Get yours today with free shipping and beat the heat.
Game on Peoria. When it's time to eat big, drink cold, and watch every play, make it Big's American Bar and Grill in the P83 district. Big's is serving up huge portions of your favorites. Burgers, wings, nachos, plus a full bar and TVs everywhere you look. And don't miss happy hour Monday through Thursday, 3 to 6:30 p.m. with $2 off well drinks and $2 off domestic drafts, plus daily specials all week long. Bring your friends, grab a seat on the patio, and settle in for the game. Big's American Bar and Grill, where Peoria comes to play, eat, and watch.
Water is essential to life in Arizona. For decades, Arizonans have worked together to plan for life in the desert. Today, communities across the state continue to invest in conservation, infrastructure, and innovative water solutions to help ensure a reliable water future. We all have a role to play. By using water wisely and staying informed, we can help protect this vital resource for future generations. Learn more at phoenix.gov/water. Sponsored by the City of Phoenix Water Services Department.
It's time for our replay rewind. The top sounds of the night and whatever Roc decides to add. Let's get to it in replay rewind with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on ESPN 620 and FM at 98.7 HD-2.
The pitch. Slap that way by Perdomo. It'll get down for a base hit. Tawa comes home to score. Waldschmidt stops at third. RBI single Geraldo Perdomo. We're tied at 1.
Big weekend for the D-backs. They take 2 of 3. In Cleveland, not the mistake by the lake, folks. It's not. Cleveland's great.
They have improved it, greatly improved.
When's the last time you were there?
I was there.
Been there.
I've been there
20 years, probably.
Probably, I was 1993 when the flats were just coming online. What a marked improvement. Those flats came online.
I love Gargiola, but I'm a big fan of Barron. I think he does such a good job.
Awesome job. He and Gandy did a good job.
We got a bunch of highlights that we're going to play for you for our replay rewind, which is brought to you by the law offices of Lerner and Rowe. We'll go out to the 31st, the end of the month, and here's Marte, his RBI single. He's been kind of leading by example as he always does, but he has been on fire, and here he is continuing to prove why he's one of the most important bats in baseball.
This is a 3-1. Cattell lines it into right field. It's a base hit. Perdomo will score. Moreno to third. RBI single Cattell Marte. 4-1 Diamondbacks in the 8th.
Saturday night in Cleveland, D-backs down a run in 7th, and Perdomo doesn't get the credit he deserves. He puts one over the wall to flip it, and number 9 on the year, and he kicks off the 7th inning, and here's Farron again on the call.
First pitch from Gaddis, and Perdomo crushes one deep to right center field. That ball is gone! A bat flip from Perdomo as he starts his home run trot, and the D-backs have a 3-2 lead in the 7th.
Then in the same game, 1 inning later, it's somewhat of a rout, and Arenado with his 15th of the season to make it 10-2. Not bad for a guy Arizona brought in back in January. And here's a call on that.
Arenado crushes one deep down the left field line. That ball is gone. Number 15 for Nolan Arenado. It's 10-2 Diamondbacks in the 8th.
And then Torey Lovello calls August moving month in his words. His club won 4 straight on the road trip before dropping the finale in Cleveland Sunday, and they're sitting in that second National League wildcard spot with the deadline. Of course, the trade deadline hitting at 3 o'clock. Here's Lovello after the getaway game on how his team handled the trip.
I'm really proud of him. We hit this road trip knowing it was going to be a very tough challenge for us, but we checked that box because we're a good baseball team. And, we're coming home after a very rugged 11-day road trip, and I'm anxious to see what we're able to put together inside the NL West. I'm extremely proud of how we handled some very difficult circumstances. Nobody complained about it. Nobody made excuses and went out there and played baseball. And we had some tough circumstances. The loss in Pittsburgh, after that made it 3 in a row, they rebounded and won 4 in a row. So I know what this team's capable of, and I want them to see their full potential every single day.
You're looking at winning 4 of the last 5, 8 out of the last 12, Roc. So they are starting to get a little traction. And you looked at the last 5 games, outscored their opponents 27-21. So the bats, you talk about Perdomo, are starting to heat up a little bit. Arenado's starting to deliver with the long ball. They can just get more of the bottom half of the lineup to contribute more so. But this team's pretty good position with a 7-game skelter with 4 with the Padres and 3 with the Dodgers coming in town this week. So they got to feel pretty good about the bats. They got to feel pretty good about the young guys. Kelly struggled yesterday, but they got to feel pretty good as far as putting runs on the board.
Speaking of the Dodgers on Saturday night, they went out and got the best pitcher in baseball. Screwball, Los Angeles Dodger now. And just like that, this rotation, which is one that I think people were already scared of, just got even better. They're the villains, and they like being the villains in baseball. Here's Jeff Passan of ESPN on what it means for the rest of the National League. And, yes, that does include our D-backs.
You know, there are questions about Shohei Ohtani, too, and about how his knee is going to affect his ability to pitch the rest of the way. Well, guess what? The Dodgers don't need Shohei Ohtani to pitch now. They've got Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who was a World Series hero last year. They've got Justin Wrobleski, who was an all-star this year. Snell's expected back soon. Glasnow going on a rehab assignment. And now you put Tarek Skubal in that rotation. They still have Emmett Sheehan and Roki Sasaki as well. The Dodgers just have an embarrassment of riches of talent, and they already were strong favorites to win the World Series. They will now be overwhelming favorites.
So I think everybody forgets, Rock, that Ohtani, with the knee injury, he's suspect at best whether he pitches again this year, and if he does, a lot of folks just say, hey, look, they picked up Skubal and slam dunk, what have you, but those are some of the things that Dodgers look ahead to. And I have no problem with the Dodgers picking up Skubal for this year. And if they pay him again next year, if there is a next year, so be it. And I just hear so many people complaining. I'm like, look, if your team, wherever you root for, if they can't help the big dogs, then stay on the porch. These guys, these owners are going to do what they want to do to improve their team, get the best available. And if people would stop and look, that this move makes sense for the Dodgers because of Ohtani specifically, as you heard Jeff Passan say, those are some things they look ahead to. And I think from that standpoint, look at him and go, yeah, a very solid, if not one of the best rotations in all of baseball. But Ohtani may not pitch again. He may be the DH for the balance of the year, depending on how this knee injury, if it heals up or if it gives him any more trouble.
You know, and for Detroit, you know, to unload their superstar, I think he was like a 9th-round pick and just had so much success. And he goes to the Dodgers. It's disappointing as a as a Tiger fan. But you knew after the season, free agency in October, he was gone. He was going to command about $400 million. It's a little too steep for the Detroit Tigers, not to mention it could be the lockout and everything else that's going to come with that. But it's unfortunate that that's the way baseball is. And you have a handful of teams, 10, 15 teams, basically half of baseball, that can't afford these players or won't spend the money. They may be able to afford it, but won't spend the money, and that just continues to be a problem with this sport.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing there, Rock, is that teams can afford it. They just want to pay it out. And I don't have any sympathy for these owners. You're the ones that created this marketplace for these pitchers, for these players, and now all of a sudden you want to put a hard cap on it, and the players are going to push back because they don't want to have this hard cap. Then all of a sudden you get to your cap, there may be 2 or 3 players per team that may have to be traded or sold off to somebody else. So I have no heartburn whatsoever. These billionaires that own these teams could afford to trade for Skubal. They could afford to trade for Ariza. They could afford to trade for this guy or that guy. They could do it. I mean, as far as they want to keep within their budget. And look, Dodgers want to win. Yankees want to win. Phillies want to win. The teams want to win. Some want to do it on the budget-wise. Some teams say, look, we've got the opportunity. There's no cap. We're going to go out and spend it. We're going to make sure that we try to at least give ourselves a chance to win 3 championships in a row, that being the Dodgers.
Capitalism at its best.
Sure.
Right?
I mean, I don't understand the heartburn.
There's nothing in the rules
that
was broken. And let's look at this. The Dodgers did pay in prospects. They're number 5, they're number 7, and plus the number 17. So they gave up real value, which, hopefully down the road. But the thing that kind of bums you out a little bit is the fact Detroit's right there, and their division is weak. And they could go on fire here and end up being in the playoffs. And how ironic would that be? It would be a perfect storm if the Tigers could come out of the American League, which that's not going to happen. But if they did and face the Dodgers in the World Series, I would love that.
Irony to its finest. Disney could not even make a movie up to that point. And, you think about this. I think about the Diamondbacks last year going, you know what? We're going nowhere fast. We'll get rid of Suarez. We'll get rid of Naylor. We'll get rid of Kelly. I think they got rid of, I forget who the other reliever was, Seawald. There was a couple others they got rid of, and you went, wow, okay. Mike Hazen's resolved to just kind of put his best foot forward and rebuild. Well, lo and behold, they get hot rod, to your point, and they only missed the playoffs by, 1 or 2 games, that being the Diamondbacks. They kind of faltered at the very end. But they made a run with little that they had. All of a sudden, you saw Zach Gallen start to pitch effectively. Brandon Pfaadt started to pitch effectively. And you saw the rest of his bullpen pitch effectively. And Merrill Kelly goes to Texas to the Rangers, and he struggles. He faltered. But you see Naylor, you see Suarez really contribute to the Seattle Mariners. By the way, Suarez really gassed out when he went to the Mariners last year, where Naylor really picked it up.
You know, the thing is, like last year, they could have unloaded Gannon and gotten some for him.
Yeah, I think. Well, you mean Gallen?
Gallen.
Yeah.
I said Gallen.
Well,
think of football.
But yeah, I think what happened, Rock, is he was so bad. You know, leading up to the trade deadline, everybody was afraid he'd continue to be that bad. Kelly was the guy. They felt Pfaadt was, he wasn't going to go anywhere because he's young. But I really felt that. Look at Zach Gallen and the way he was just performing was horrible. And they just went, let's give us the best of your best. That was Merrill Kelly.
All right, today's Replay Rewind is brought to you by the law offices of Lerner Rowe. Interact, need a check, make one call. That's all. 602-977-1900. And always at lernerrowe.com. They can help, get a free consultation. Again, one call. That's all. You know the number, 602-977-1900. All right, Jacoby Brissett threw a pair of interceptions Sunday. Cardinals opened preseason on Thursday in Canton. The guy who sat in the exact chair tells us how much a bad August day really means. Rudy Carpenter will join us right after this Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B Sports update.
It's now time for your Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B's ESPN 620 Sports Center update. I'm Matt Lazarus. The D-backs took 2 or 3 from the Cleveland Guardians over the weekend as their lengthy road trip finally comes to an end. Arizona now returns home to Chase Field for the start of a crucial 3-game set against the San Diego Padres as the NL wildcard race continues to tighten up. Brandon Pfaadt will get the start tonight for the D-backs with first pitch set for 6:40 and pregame coverage getting underway at 6 on 98.7 FM, also streaming live on the Arizona Sports app. This Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B ESPN 620 Sports Center update is powered by Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks is the best in the game. From bigger game days to UFC fight nights, there's no better place to catch all the action. Plus, with the Scratch Kitchen that always comes in clutch, you can enjoy great food from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Living in the Valley of the Sun means we're always battling the heat on the golf course, at work, or just getting through the day. To stay sharp, you need more than energy. You need hydration. You need Phoenix Hydration Energy, spelled Phoenix, like the city we love. Phoenix gives you clean, natural energy from green tea, plus 3 times the electrolytes of leading sports drinks. No crash, no junk, just pure performance. Grab Phoenix Hydration Energy today at 7-Eleven, Quick Trip, or Circle K. Phoenix Hydration Energy. Rise up.
When it comes to your roof, you don't want to mess around. And Arizona homeowners and business owners have known that for over a decade. State 48 Roofing is Arizona's #1 referred roofer. Residential, commercial, they do it all. And they've been doing it right here in the Valley for over 10 years. Protect your home, protect your business. And hey, keep your roof sexy with State 48 Roofing. Visit state48roofing.com or call 480-268-4509. State 48 Roofing, Arizona's most trusted roof.
Join the team at All City Towing, Arizona's largest towing company and leader in roadside service. We're hiring dispatchers, call takers, lot attendants, drivers, and customer service pros ready to grow with us. You'll enjoy state-of-the-art equipment, consistent schedules, full health benefits, a strong 401k match, employer life insurance, and a monthly fuel allowance. Take your career to the next level. Apply today at allcitytowing.com. All City Towing, where your future is always moving forward.
Let me remind you, Thursdays are where the weekend starts at Twin Peaks Restaurant. Grab an ice-cold Bud Light or a refreshing Michelob Ultra and catch wall-to-wall sports on massive TVs everywhere you look. Big games, cold beer, made from scratch food. Start your weekend early with Bud Light and Michelob Ultra. Thursdays at Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, and scenic views.
Your brain is powerful. It helps you learn, create, and become who you're meant to be. But too much screen time or drugs can make it harder to focus, stay motivated, or even feel like yourself. And over time, your brain needs more of that stimulation just to feel normal. What you do now matters. You've got one brain, take care of it. Learn more at loveyourbrainaz.com. Sponsored by the Substance Awareness Coalition Leaders of Arizona.
Before you fly, take a trip to your local MVD office or authorized third-party provider with your required documents and get the new AZ Travel ID with the Gold Star for your new driver's license or ID. Starting May 2025, this new AZ Travel ID gets you through TSA security checkpoints. It's quick and easy. Think of it as your license to fly. Learn how to get your new ID at aztravelid.com. Sponsored by ADOT in partnership with the Arizona Broadcasters Association and this station.
Here to talk football is former Sun Devil and NFL quarterback Rudy Carpenter, who went 3-0 against that team in Tucson.
Deep ball again by Rudy Carpenter. He reads it, and zone coverage gets behind the safety.
Rudy Carpenter now on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on ESPN 620.
Hi, Rudy Carpenter joins us now on Roc Manuch, Jimmy B. His website, 12sportsconsulting.com. We'll get into that a little bit later, but you heard by now that Jacoby Brissett had a clean stretch and then had a bad Sunday, threw a couple picks. And I want to ask you, Rudy, from the quarterback's chair, how does one practice actually mean in early August? Does it really matter, or the fans are just kind of getting, they're looking for something to talk about at this point?
I mean, I think it's a double-sided question, right? Number one, I think in the NFL and training camp and practice, I think everything matters, right? The cameras are always on. Everything's being graded. Everything is being evaluated at all times. So everything matters, right? But at the same time, it's early in training camp. There's going to be, a lot more interceptions to be thrown. That's what practice is for. It's what training camp is literally for. I think the big difference now is that every single fan and every single person is a journalist and a news reporter now, because they all have a phone in their hands. And so therefore we as quote unquote outsiders or fans, we are just presented with a lot more information, I guess similar to the Marvin Harrison stuff, right? Where if you log on Twitter over the last week, you think Marvin Harrison is literally just having terrible, terrible practices every single day.
Yep.
And I think that fans don't realize new system, working with your receivers, it's literally a whole new ball game, whole new offense as far as timing, what hole to put it in here and there. And I think for, ex-quarterbacks like you and I are coaches or the fans that really know the game, it's just, okay, get it all worked out so that these things are cured before the regular season. Now, it becomes a regular issue during the regular season. Those are some of the things I think that's where fans should be a little concerned about.
Yeah, I think we'll be able to see that too. Look, I do think, there are things that are true, which is it's very, very, very rare you see a team that practices horribly, throughout the entire training camp, and then just all of a sudden week one in training in the regular season just turns it off, right? I think that even the preseason games, right? Yes, they don't matter from a win and loss standpoint. They don't matter, but what does matter is how well your ones are playing. If you play your one and every preseason game, when it comes to their drive, they're going down, they're kicking a field goal, they're scoring a touchdown, they're playing good football, they're executing. And then, when the second, third, fourth guys come in, they lose the game after that. That's not a big deal. What is a big deal is if your ones are playing horrible, right? And they're not playing well, and they're not playing well every single preseason game. It's very rare you see them all of a sudden in week one just turn it on and play well. So, yeah, I think that you can judge a team a lot based on how well they're practicing and how well they play in the preseason. But that's only the starters. It's only that starting group. It's not the rest of the team.
Rudy, in reference to Marvin Harrison, you addressed it. Our Marv Jr., Had a few drops here and there. And again, I think it's kind of the same situation. At what point would you be concerned about Marv besides regular season? If this is a habitual thing coming across the middle, going deep, or are you concerned at all that he can get that squared away by the time the regular season starts?
I'm already concerned about Marv. I mean, I am. Like, you drafted him, I believe, with the number 3 pick overall or whatever he was. Like, you drafted him very, very high. You drafted him to come in and have an impact on your offense right away. You did not draft him to take, 3-4 years to start playing well. You drafted him to play well right away. And, as a receiver, it's way different than a quarterback. I'm not saying that it's by any means easy, but it's just a lot different as a wide receiver. You get opportunities and you make those plays. And so far, he's had drops. He's not making the contested catches that you would like. I think so far what we've seen from him early on in his NFL career is, yes, he's been hurt. It's been hard for him to practice on a consistent basis, to get into a rhythm playing. He's had multiple quarterbacks. I get all of that stuff. But when you draft a guy as highly as you drafted Marv, you expect to see at least some flash plays by now. And that really, in my viewpoint, hasn't happened. And so to me, yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure on him right now going into the season. And I think as a team, as an organization, and us as a fan base, yeah, I think it's fair for us to want to see a big jump from him this season and see him play a lot better. I think that's fair. I mean, that's what goes, when you're picked as high as he was.
Rudy Carpenter joining us here, ESPN Radio Phoenix. Gardner Minshew and rookie Carson Beck are both behind Jacoby Brissett. Is there a version where a rookie could win the job in August?
I mean, we've seen it with Dak Prescott, right? Like he had a couple things line up where, number one, Tony Romo, was hurt, but number two, Dak was just, playing his ass off in every single preseason game where it was like, man, they just came to the conclusion that they felt like he was operating at such a high level. They had to let him play. I think this is, in my viewpoint, what it's going to be, right? It's probably going to be Jacoby Brissett's the 1, Gardner's the 2, and Beck is the 3. And the reason why I say that is because there's no reason to have Beck be the 2. If Jacoby gets hurt, you're better off throwing Gardner Minshew in there because he understands how to be a backup quarterback. He understands how to come in and play in a situation like that. If you ultimately get to a spot where you're going to play Carson Beck, you want that spot to happen with a week's worth of practice, a week's worth of preparation, a week's worth of film. You want him to be able to come into that situation as prepared as possible. There's no reason to, Jacoby's got hurt. Carson, go in there. Let's see what you can do. Why? That's what you have Gardner Minshew for. That's literally, Gardner's job. So I think Gardner Minshew is going to be the number 2 no matter what. And Jacoby's going to start early on. If they get to a place where they want to see what they have in Carson Beck, then Jacoby will be 3 and Carson will be 1 and Gardner will still be 2. And that's because, Jacoby's got these incentives in his contract as well. And so if he's now the 3rd, you probably have a better chance of not having to pay out any of those incentives. If Carson's your guy and he gets hurt or doesn't play well or whatever, you can put Gardner in there. That's just the business side of it and how this thing works.
You feel pretty good about, what Jacoby can do and Gardner can do. How aggressive would you be in playing Beck through the preseason? You got 4 preseason games starting Thursday night. Would he look to try to 75% of the reps, 80%, just have Jacoby Brissett just get some couple 2 or 3 series, Minshew a couple 2 or 3 series? How would you look at trying to get him developed at least a little bit during the preseason, that being Carson Beck?
Yeah, look, I hate talking about myself or even any of these other quarterbacks that played a lot of football in college, right? But I always find it so wild when like a guy that's either a late round pick or undrafted or even a third round pick in Carson Beck's standpoint, and then he goes out in practice and plays well, or he goes out in the preseason and plays well, and everybody freaks out like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this guy played well. And it's like, well, I mean, in my case, I'm like, I didn't just throw for 100 touchdowns in the Pac-10 for like no reason. Like, I mean, it just doesn't happen, right? Like, you know, I remember talking to a scout, like they were, you know, I had like 90 something touchdown passes and like 33 career interceptions, and Josh Freeman in his career, he's a first round pick. He had like 40 touchdowns and 35 interceptions. And then we get into the season, he's throwing a ton of interceptions. And I remember like scouts being so like, I can't believe he's thrown this many interceptions. I go, did you like not watch his college film? Like I don't get it. So I'm saying this in Carson's standpoint, like the dude has played a ton of football, and that means something. That accounts for something. He's comfortable standing in the pocket. He's comfortable making decisions. He's comfortable throwing the ball in games. He's used to having to throw guys open, anticipate, compete. Like these are all things he's done a billion times in big-time situations at the University of Georgia, at Miami. Every single year Carson Beck has been a starter, that literally has been in a position where people expect him to compete for a national championship. So, like, what would make the preseason so difficult for him when he's going up against all kinds of guys? To me, if I'm the Arizona Cardinals, I've been saying this the last couple months on your show, if I'm the Arizona Cardinals, yes, Kobe's my starter, but in the preseason, I'm going to play. Gardner Minshew shouldn't need a bunch of reps. He's a career backup. He's played a long time. He's going to be ready to go. To me, I want to play Carson Beck in the preseason as much as I can to get him reps, to get him comfortable calling plays, to get him in and out of the huddle, to get him used to operating in our system at the NFL level, to get him confidence, but also to evaluate him, also to let other teams evaluate him. But I'm also, if I'm the Arizona Cardinals, at some point in time this season, I don't know what they think their record's going to be or what kind of playoff push they're going to have. But if they're not in the mix for, you know, a conference championship or even getting in the playoffs, if I'm the Arizona Cardinals, I'm trying to start Carson Beck as many games as possible, because I truly think that Carson could end up being a guy that they look at as like, hey, you know, we can develop this guy into a starter. We can develop this guy into a franchise guy. He's big, he's strong, he's athletic enough, he can make all the throws. And now, as we've seen it, you have a guy who's a third-round pick. He's got a 4-year deal. On top of that, remember the Kirk Cousins situation. He's got a 4-year deal, but now you have control for at least 2 more years because you can franchise tag him not once but twice. So you know that with Carson Beck, you at least have him for 6 years under control if you want him. 4 of those years being very, very cheap years, which now means you can actually go build your team through the draft and then strategically bring in some free agents because you're not paying a quarterback $500 million.
He's Rudy Carpenter, and he is brought to us today by 12 Sports Consulting, recruiting services, sell exposure. They open doors, recruiting services, market your athlete to college coaches in the masses, and that is what he does. So check it out, 12sportsconsulting.com. Rudy, good stuff as always, buddy. Have a great week.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You got it. That's Rudy Carpenter joining us. Of course, 12 Sports Consulting. Got to check that out. Not TV 12. It's 12 Sports Consulting. Check out the website, 12sportsconsulting.com. All right, up next, the Cardinals, of course, kick off the NFL season, the preseason. That is on Thursday. Aaron Donald could be making a comeback. Training camp injuries are already piling up. And Aaron Rodgers wants preseason reps. That's all coming up next right here on Roc Manuch, Jimmy B from Wright Toyota.
When it comes to sushi, reputation matters, and Sushi Brokers Arcadia has built theirs on being the best sushi in Arizona. From traditional rolls to bold fusion creations, like our crowd favorite, Seafood Dynamite, and the must-try sushi pizza. We've got something for everyone. Our famous happy hour is every day from 3 to 6:30 with fresh favorites like the California roll, spicy tuna roll, and the surf and turf roll, topped with seared steak. Sushi Brokers Arcadia, 44th Street in Indian School.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I'm attorney Kevin Rowe. Being in an auto accident is traumatic. You need to call the best law firm that has the experience to get you the best results. Call 977-1900. That's 977-1900.
Bigger fields, bigger events, bigger experiences. Arizona Athletic Grounds. Arizona Athletic Grounds is a 275-acre sports and entertainment destination for athletes, fans, and families. Located in Mesa, AAG is one of the largest multi-sport complexes in the country, with over 475,000 square feet indoors and more than 150 fields and courts. From tournaments to training to cheer, dance, concerts, and corporate events, the grounds does it all. Learn more at azgrounds.com.
It's that time of year across Arizona. Working in high temperatures can cause a workplace injury. Cramps, rashes, exhaustion, dizziness, even heat stroke. Know the signs and protect yourself from a heat stress injury. Get plenty of water, rest, and shade while at work. Learn more from the Industrial Commission of Arizona. Just visit azica.gov/heat. This message is sponsored by the Industrial Commission of Arizona.
Are you a dementia caregiver? Perhaps you care for your spouse, family member, or friend. Whoever it is, being a dementia caregiver can build relationships and test them. I'm Bill, and I want to thank you for the care you have provided. I've faced similar situations, so I'm speaking on behalf of the Dementia Society of America, a nonprofit organization. Request our free guide filled with tips on care, planning, and much more. Go to 1-800-DEMENTIA.org or call 1-800-DEMENTIA. Thank you.
Every day, Arizona is growing. New faces, new opportunities, new challenges. And every day, someone decides to step forward and serve. The Phoenix Police Department is looking for people who feel that call. With competitive pay, strong benefits, and over 80 specialty units, you can build your own career path. Serve in Arizona's largest city. Apply now at joinphxpd.com. For hiring updates and information, follow us on social media at joinphxpd. Opportunity awaits. Sponsored by the City of Phoenix.
Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B want to take you back. A quick reflection on some of the more memorable moments in sports and pop culture. Now, time for your Right Toyota on this day report. Right Toyota, right on the corner, right on the price. Right Toyota in Scottsdale.
All right, move over. Tom Brady, 1948.
When I wake up
in the morning, makes his first major league start. He was 42. 42.
Imagine if you'd have seen him in his, well, matter of fact, he pitched to what, 55? Something like that?
He started 42.
Yeah. Can you imagine him if he'd have started in his early 20s, mid-20s? He'd have been breaking records or set records that a lot of people probably would not have broken.
Another theme to old people, Manuch. 1979, Sam Snead makes the cut at a major championship at 67 years old. Oldest ever, still is. 67.
Slamming Sammy Snead. What a swing he had. Man, he and Ben Hogan to the finest swings ever.
There you have it. On this day, brought to you by Right Toyota. Right Toyota, right on the corner, right on the price. Right Toyota in Scottsdale. You come on down, you can see our new set. Got brand new koozies came out today. So
very nice.
New koozies with our new logo and everything. So good stuff there. But let's get to a little early. We get to a little football at 50. Of course, the Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers are the first two clubs in the league with their full rosters on site, and they will kick off the season 5 o'clock on NBC. It's not a preseason opener, though. First football of the year. National window, and it's the only national window Arizona's going to have all year probably, right? So how many snaps is the question? How many snaps do the starters get in a game where the whole country is watching but nobody doesn't care about it.
I would think at least a series or two. I mean, new coaching staff, everybody on board, give them a series or two, or at least a series. At that point in time, put Carson Beck in there. You already know what Gardner Minshew can do. Let him run the show for the next 3 quarters. You're going to see a bunch of second-teamers, third-teamers, rookies. But at least I would get to your point. Unfortunately, only time you'll see any of these starters on national TV throughout the entire year unless you got the regional situation going. I'd go at least a series.
All right, good morning, football this morning. Stated that Aaron Donald, who hasn't played since 2023, is weighing a return to the Rams. No decision yet, but looks like it's trending that way. The 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Los Angeles has already built that defense aggressively this offseason. So does a 35-year-old who's been out 3 years actually come back and dominate?
I would say yes, because he was in phenomenal shape, they say. He was dominating when he left. And I thought he left at the right time. You get the Super Bowl, you get the ring, you move on. But if he feels he's still got a little gas left in the tank, and he's got Myles Garrett there and this other defense that they're talking about, defenders, with a front 7 that they have for linebackers to them. And he comes back, and he's that 3 technique or nose guard guy with Myles Garrett. Why not? Why not make it happen? If he feels he can handle it, but there's sure been a lot of chatter, Rock. There's a lot of smoke there. I think there's a lot of fire there. I think that this is something for the next 2 weeks.
Baker Mayfield wants a new contract and has openly said he's unhappy on how the Bucs front office has handled it. But Vita is in the same boat. He's requested a trade. So 2 of the most important players on that roster are unhappy in the same building, and it's August. So is Tampa's window closing while they argue about money?
Yeah. I mean, sign both of them for crying out loud. I mean, these guys are – Vita is a stud. Everybody, if they trade him, you'll see people lining up. I think Baker Mayfield is very deserving of having the big contract. Yeah, he waned last year, but 2 years ago, did he not go to the NFC Championship game? I mean, he's got that franchise on par year in and year out. And the only thing I would caution him, I just thought that him saying he felt disrespected at viewpoint, kind of airing out his feelings about, I would just keep that on the down low and just say, look, we're trying to work a few things out. But for right now, I don't want to negotiate the season starting, but I feel that I'm very deserving. Kind of leave it at that. I mean, I don't know if you want to take shots at your team, during camp, so disrespected. And he said it in a kind of an endearing way. He didn't really hammer the Bucs. He's kind of said, I feel disrespected. I feel I'm very deserving. I think you just said I'm very deserving, and I hope we get this thing worked out.
Aaron Rodgers intends to play early in the preseason. Of course, you got a new head coach, Mike McCarthy. And you wonder if a 42-year-old quarterback like him actually needs reps because
well, he knows the system from Green Bay, and McCarthy was there in Green Bay, so he knows this system. I think the reason why he wants to play is just getting some timing down with his receivers, getting some pass protection, and just making sure that he's not rusty when the regular season starts. And if more than anything, when you look, matter of fact, I think they opened up with Tampa Bay. Speaking of Tampa Bay and Pittsburgh Steelers, but I think he's a guy that wants to play, that wants to just knock the rust off and play sparingly, if at all. So I think I know what he's saying. He's saying, I know the system. I want to get this down packed with some of my receivers. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way, and then we'll get ready for the opening game.
All right, the quick hits. Joint practices are everywhere. 28 of the 32 clubs have been scheduled, and they start August 11th. Cowboys and Rams in L.A. You got the Colts and Patriots in Foxborough. Bucks, Jets, Titans, 49ers. 15 teams have multiple. Of course, if you didn't hear this, I'm sure you have, but the NFL's playing in Australia. It'll be the first regular season game ever. That'll be on Thursday, September 10th, between the 49ers and the Rams. Of course, kickoff, some people don't know this, but the kickoff is the Super Bowl rematch on a Wednesday this year, as the Patriots are at the defending champion Seahawks. The Commanders are bringing back some legends. John Riggins and D. Green return as the team ambassadors under Josh Harris, the owner. Both had distanced themselves during the Snyder years, so Josh Harris is going to try to bring them all back. And love John Reagan. One of my favorite players growing
The
up.
Diesel.
What a badass.
The Diesel. Absolutely.
And then off the field, Roger Goodell is expected to get another extension. So there you have it. That is football at 15. It's brought to you by Biggs American Bar and Grill. They are back for your home for Monday Night Football. You got some preseason action on Thursday, the regular season madness, the perfect place to host your fantasy football draft. It's all happening at Biggs. Ice cold drinks, loaded burgers, wall-to-wall TVs. And it's just off the 101 at 83rd Avenue in Bell in Peoria. You can hit them up at BiggsPeoria.com to lock in your fantasy draft party. Now, we have a text and win program with them right now where we're hooking you up with a portable Bluetooth speaker that's got our new logo on it for Roc Manuch and Jimmy B. Plus, we'll throw in a $100 gift card for Biggs American Bar and Grill. We'll be giving that away, I think, at the end of the week. All you got to do is text ESPN to 59925. That's ESPN to 59925. Standard message and data rates apply. Biggs, where the food's hot, the beer's cold, and sports fans call home. All right, hour number 2, we're going to catch up. It's been a while. It's been on the IR, and that is Craig Fouhy from ABC 15. So a little fact, our Fouhy. We got my money line, some good stuff in there today. And then we'll also catch up with Barry Bloom, MLB baseball columnist for Forbes. And we'll talk to him about some of the trades today and much, much more as we continue on from Wright Toyota, right on the corner, right on the price, Wright Toyota in Scottsdale.
Let's be honest, summers can be unbearable in Arizona, but there's an answer. And now Presidential Pools is doing their best to make your dream pool a possibility in your own backyard with a limited time full financing offer. 0 closing costs plus $500 cash back. And this offer is good through August 31st. Celebrating 35 years of building Arizona's dream backyards. Go to presidentialpools.com today.
For over a century now, Ford has been part of America. In my family, it's been generations. Paul Calvisi here. My grandfather worked for Ford Motor. My first car, a classic Mustang, still have it. But going to our Desert Ford dealers today means getting more than a vehicle. We're talking a full suite of benefits like complimentary Ford mobile service or try Ford pickup and delivery. Yes, to and from your door, and it's easy scheduling in the Ford Pass app. Tough would be built Ford tough. More than a slogan, it's an identity of the F-Series trucks, and the all-new 2026 F-150 is the best yet, with a completely redesigned interior and exterior. Adventure? How about the Ford Bronco Sport? It says, let's get it, with 5 available trims so you can forge your own path. We recently bought a new Explorer at our Desert Ford dealers. Love the flexible seating up to 7. All the cargo room, the advanced tech. Bottom line, Ford is the future at our Desert Ford dealers. Just click buyfordnow.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. After suffering an injury, you may face many hard questions. What will tomorrow bring? Which firm should I choose to represent me and my family? At Morgan & Morgan, we will hold your hand every step of the way. From our one-click sign-up, mobile apps, and 24/7 availability, we make it easy to get your case started right from the comfort of your couch. All firms are not the same. The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Let me remind you, Thursdays are where the weekend starts at Twin Peaks Restaurant. Grab an ice-cold Bud Light or a refreshing Michelob Ultra and catch wall-to-wall sports on massive TVs everywhere you look. Big games, cold beer, made from scratch food. Start your weekend early with Bud Light and Michelob Ultra. Thursdays at Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, and scenic views.
Looking for a new ride? Make the right choice. Ride Honda in Scottsdale. Whether you're shopping for a fuel-efficient Civic, a family-friendly CRV, the rugged Passport, or the all-new Accord, Ride Honda has the selection, value, and customer service Arizona drivers trust. Plus, their experienced service team is here long after the sale. Visit the showroom on Scottsdale Road just south of Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard or shop anytime at RightHonda.com. That's RightHonda.com, where Arizona drives Right Honda.
KTAR AM Phoenix, Arizona's home for the worldwide leader in sports, is ESPN 620. It's time for Fact or Fouhy with ABC 15 Sports Director Craig Fouhy. Fouhy joins the guys each Monday to break down the top stories of the weekend. And as a reminder, Manuch writes the questions. Now here's ABC 15's Craig Fouhy.
That's right, ABC 15 Sports Director Craig Fouhy. Fouhy, you don't call, you don't write. What's going on, man? I mean, it's like Manuch told me you went under the knife or you had a football injury. What's going on?
A little knee surgery back on July 1st, so I'm coming up just about 5 weeks on Wednesday. It'll be 5 weeks in surgery, but got back to work after about 3.5 weeks. So, walking better, doing better. Yeah.
So you're all set for Frank Cush's run in October? You're going to get in on that?
I've been out at Cardinals training camp quite a bit, and that street from where we park in the Orange Lot to get across to the stadium is like the Indy 500 raceway with cars going through there at Westgate. And I told my photographer yesterday, I said, I'm not crossing this street because I'm not outrunning any single car, even if it's a grandma going like 2 miles an hour. I'm making sure I look left and right and listen because I cannot win a race against my infant son and my grandson. So, yeah, it ain't happening.
But you're doing good. Recovery's going well for you, Craig?
Yeah, it's going well. I was back to back to work, like I said, in 3.5 weeks. So they laid me open, cut out a bunch of scar tissue, got some things cleaned up, and doing physical therapy early this morning. And so, just keeping it moving.
So why couldn't Manuch's not a salesperson at all? I should have jumped in on this. Why didn't we talk to you when you were under? That'd have been awesome. Under your meds.
When you were loopy?
Because Factor Fouhy would have been really fun if we could have got you while you're taking your meds.
I'll tell you what, man, Roc, I got home from surgery and I still had the pain block and the oxycodone and all that stuff. And I'm bending my knee and working away and it's all wrapped up and stuff. And I'm like, I feel great. This is awesome. And then 48 hours later, I was like, oh, this sucks. This is awful.
Hey, Coach, it wasn't that I didn't try, right? I kept,
no, you did.
Doing today? Yeah.
That's good.
No, you did.
All right, I know you've been jonesing, so we brought out 5 really good questions for you today because I had to step up and help Manuch.
Yeah.
So, all right, here's first one. Jacoby Brissett, he threw 2 picks in yesterday's practice, both to Cody Simon. Cards fans should be worried. Factor Fouhy.
I'm going to say fact, but I don't think it's because of Jacoby Brissett. I think it's because that they're predicted to win 3 games and then are underdog in every single game. So I don't know if you can single out Jacoby Brissett in this deal. But the fact that they play every single game on Sunday afternoon, that's another thing you got to look at and go, they don't have any primetime games at all. Listen, this team will underdeliver every single year for us, whether or not it's Jacoby Brissett or Gardner Minshew or Carson Beck. And here's the deal. Everybody's going to have up and downs. And I think what's funny right now, and Tim Ring and I were just talking about it yesterday at practice, how every pass that's thrown to Marvin Harrison and his reaction to that pass, catch or drop or not make, has been highly scrutinized, right? Diagnosed, put under the microscope, and we rise and fall with 2 interceptions, 2 picks by Jacoby Brissett yesterday. And we disregard the 7 touchdown passes he threw the day before, right? So I looked at some video earlier today of Carson Beck throwing touchdown after touchdown in practice, but most people will say, he's a rookie, he's still struggling to get through. I mean, it just depends on how you're looking at it and what you see, but you've got to look at it as a whole, right? You can't take one practice and say, everybody has a bad day. Right? Everybody has a bad day. Bad day at work, bad day on the radio, bad day on TV, bad day on the football field. So you just can't take one practice out and say, we got to be worried because Jacoby Brissett threw 2 picks to Cody Simon. I mean, those things are going to happen in practice, and that's why you have training camp.
All right, speaking of primetime games, the only primetime will be this Thursday as Arizona plays in the Hall of Fame game against Carolina. The starters should not play a single snap. Fact or Fouhy?
Fouhy on that. Listen, I'm so old school. Put guys out there and let them play a little bit. Give them a series or 2, and they won't, because it's the 4th preseason game. They get 4 this year because of the Hall of Fame game, and that's why it's a primetime game. I was, of course, looking at the rest of the regular season schedule, Manuch, but they do play Thursday night on NBC, and it'll be fun to see what goes out there. Mike LaFleur's offense. I know he won't do anything. He told us yesterday they're not game planning anything. for the Panthers. So it's going to be a practice between these two teams. I'd love to see some Jeremiah Love. He wants to get out there and play, but again, Mike LaFleur was not ready to commit to that yesterday. So I just think it's going to be one of those nights where I want to see guys play in the preseason. We've gone down this road so many times. Andy Reid plays his guys in the preseason. Other coaches do. Some coaches don't. We just haven't seen it much. And I'm just tired of letting guys stand on the sidelines and watch football.
He's ABC 15's Craig Fouhy joining us, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B here on ESPN Radio Phoenix. All right, question 3 for Factor Fouhy. Marvin Harrison Jr. still hasn't had a 1,000-yard season. Michael Wilson has had one, which was last year. Wilson is the Cards' actual number 1 receiver. Factor Fouhy.
Nah, Fouhy on that. Listen, I think it's still Marvin. Yeah, I think it's still Marvin Harrison. Listen, okay. until he proves, I think this is a make or break year for him. He's had some good plays over the years. He's got some bad plays, but I always look at everything through the Drew Petzing glasses. Like, how did that guy keep his offensive coordinator job for 3 years, right? That was just abysmal in terms of what he did with Kyler, what he did with Marvin. Marvin would be in the game plan for the first quarter, then out of the game plan for 3, or not in the game plan for 3 quarters and in the game plan in the 4th. I mean, it was like, it shocks me that Drew Petzing is the OC for Detroit right now. Just in shock of that. So I think this is a make or break year. You've got an offensive head coach now, which the guys seem to really love on offense, right? They like that. They like him coming in with his scheme and that LA Rams kind of look and 49ers feel. And so they like what they're seeing so far. I think this will be a make or break year. Jacoby Brissett is the 6'4", 245-pound stand in the pocket quarterback, which every NFL guy loves. Every NFL coach loves that pro style. And Michael Wilson had a nice last 9 games last year, so it was good for him. But I think we'll see a different Marvin Harrison in this offense this year. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I just think it'll be a different Marvin Harrison.
Coach, the Dodgers just traded for Tarek Skubal. The National West is already over. Fact or Fouhy?
Well, what's over is Major League Baseball next year. It's done. There will not be a season. That was the trade over the weekend that put the owners over the top, right? You get Skubal out there with the Dodgers, and now all the owners are going, you know what? Screw this. We're going to put in a salary cap. We're going to put in a salary limit, a bottom floor, and we're going to do it whether the players want it or not. The players are digging in. They don't want it. So even beyond the Dodgers winning this year, yes, they will again. They'll win the West. But I think we're seeing the end of baseball for 2027. I don't think we're going to see a start on time at all, maybe even not a season. Bad decision by the Dodgers.
All right, Arizona opens a 7-game homestand tonight against San Diego, and then it's L.A. This week decides the D-backs season. Factor Fouhy.
Fact. Listen, they're getting down there now. They've played really well. They've hung in there. They're in the wild card hunt. They've won games where they needed to win them. Guys have stepped up when they had to. They've just got some struggles in the pitching staff right now. They need to get some guys back healthy. Whether or not those guys can come back and play well right away, that's another story. But you're down to 50 games left, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in there.
52-ish. Yeah, I think so.
Something like that, right? Yeah, something like that. So they got to make a move, and they've got to play. So I think this homestand is going to make the difference with the Padres. Obviously, is a big 4-game homestand there. They've got to show that they can still play at a high level, and they've got to hit the bats. Have got to come alive and play well, and the pitching. And then you've got to find some help. And I haven't seen anything yet on the free agent market. Have you, the trade deadline? Nothing. And I know they wanted to go out and find some help. Yeah. So I think this is critical.
I think I'm surprised them if you're going to really make that move. I mean, I would hope they would get somebody, but they've got an hour left, Coach, or basically 55 minutes left to do something, I would think.
Yeah, there is, and it's kind of been Mike Hazen's move in the last couple of years, right? It's always been late. It's kind of been so I we could still see some things happening, but it's just interesting right now that the way it's going because we haven't seen a thing yet. Crazy.
But do you think he's relying on some of these guys that are coming back, like Jordan Lawler or Tommy Troy, or Ariel Jr.? I mean, that's probably it, right? I mean, he expects him to come back at some point, so he doesn't want to mortgage the place because they don't have much money, right? Money is an issue here.
Yeah, no, that's the thing, Roc, and it's like you look at the guys that are coming back off the IR, the injured list, and IL, and they could provide some help where they need the help. And the other side of it is you don't want to screw up the chemistry in the clubhouse, right? Guys are getting along. They're playing well together. Torrey's got them moving pretty well. And you don't want to bring somebody in that's going to be a distraction to the clubhouse right now, not at this critical stretch. So you've got to pick and choose very carefully in terms of what you do and what you bring into that clubhouse with the chemistry that's already there.
And one of the things we looked at last year, Coach, with Naylor and Suarez and Kelly all getting traded away, a majority of those individuals that stayed back are still on this team. They made a little bit of a run last year into that wild card spot with what was left over.
Yeah, no, they did. And that's the thing right now. You're playing pretty well, right? You're playing where you should be playing. You're second in the NL West. You got the Padres coming in here for 4 games. You're out behind the Dodgers, but you're still in that wild card hunt, solidly in the wild card hunt. And so you've got to look at who's coming back off the injured list and who's going to be back at what time and when they're coming back. They know better than we do who's throwing, who's hitting, who's doing what in that injured group that's trying to get back. So they know better than what we know on the outside. But I would think that Mike Hazen's really walking on eggshells here to make sure he doesn't screw this chemistry up.
As we let you go, Larry Fitzgerald going in the Hall on Saturday. What are some of your thoughts in covering Larry over the last many years you've been at Channel 15?
I'll be there in Canton. I'm excited to go and be there with Larry.
Nice.
But listen, I had Larry's first interview when he got drafted back in 2004. We had our Sunday night Cardinals show, and he came we interviewed him in the locker room, him and his dad. And I've known Larry and become good friends with Larry. And he's been just a great human being to work with and cover and be around. So I'm thrilled to be able to go to Canton this weekend and just be an outside part of that, right? I'm not going to be arm in arm locked with Larry walking up to the podium, but at least I get to be in the arena and see him go into the Hall of Fame, which is going to be awesome. And I'll go in there Sunday morning and just check everything out after the fact. And he's been just an absolute delight. And, we were talking this weekend just about the Mount Rushmore in Arizona of sports, and Larry Fitzgerald's got to be the biggest, best, right? I mean,
clearly
he's done so much for this community, raised so much money, helped so many kids and families and breast cancer survivors and people going through that, and done a ton just to support this. He bought in here. He wanted to stay here when he didn't have to. He stayed for 17 seasons with the Cardinals and almost got a Super Bowl win out of it. But what a player he was, and he deserves to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I mean, he's clearly the ambassador for the Arizona Cardinals. You would think that the Bidwells could do something really, really special. I don't know what that is, if it's some type of monument or something.
Right.
They need to do something for him, don't you think, instead of just, other than just retiring his number?
Well, yeah. I mean, every other team is putting statues up outside of stadiums and arenas, right?
Yeah.
Maybe there's I know we got Pat Tillman out there at the stadium, but maybe there needs to be a Larry Fitzgerald statue. I know they're going to present him with his Hall of Fame ring at some point this season in a home game. But I mean, he's Larry Fitzgerald for goodness sakes. Yeah,
it'll be the Jet game. It'll be the Jet game, right? Because
that'll be the homecoming game, Coach.
Who wins that one who loses that one gets the first overall pick.
Yeah. Billy, we're glad you're back, buddy. We miss you.
Absolutely.
So good stuff. We're ready to go. Thanks. Enjoy it.
All
Enjoy Canton. That's
See ya.
Fouhy,
Later.
ABC 15.
Rock, you're on it today.
All right. Fouhy's brought to you by Twin Peaks. When you're looking for great food and a great place to watch a game, Twin Peaks is always on your list. It should always be first. The burgers are made from scratch. The beer is served at a frost 29 degrees, and every seat has a great view of the action. That's Twin Peaks. Thanks to our friends over at Michelob Ultra and Bud Light. All right, why did the SEC and the Big Ten suddenly change their minds on college sports? And why is Roger Goodell getting another extension? And why are Notre Dame and Ohio State selling ads on their jerseys? We're going to get into all that next in the Money Line as we connect the dots next on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
Let me remind you, Thursdays are where the weekend starts at Twin Peaks Restaurant. Grab an ice-cold Bud Light or a refreshing Michelob Ultra and catch wall-to-wall sports on massive TVs everywhere you look. Big games, cold beer, made from scratch food. Start your weekend early with Bud Light and Michelob Ultra. Thursdays at Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, and scenic views.
Hey, It's Jimmy B. Football season is here, and there's never been a better time to grow your business. Partner right now with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. With live endorsement, show sponsorships, featured segments, remote broadcasts, and so much more. YouTube, social media, and commercials, all built around your goals and your budget. Visit rocandmanuch.com and click advertise. Let's grow your business together.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I'm Attorney Kevin Rowe. Getting rear-ended once is bad enough. Don't let the insurance company hit you again with a lowball offer. Call an experienced attorney who knows how to fight and win. Call Lerner and Rowe today. 977-1900.
Call 977-1900.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the ultimate lunch lineup boasts wall-to-wall sports and scenic views. When you're hungry and in a hurry, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
Don't be fooled by the people you meet on social media. It may start as an innocent conversation, but anyone who tries to sell you pills or powders is nothing more than a drug dealer. And if you think tiny amounts can't do much harm, think again. Fentanyl can end it all. Know the truth about fentanyl at learnmoreaz.org. Don't be fooled. Don't be faked out. Visit learnmoreaz.org. Sponsored by Substance Awareness Coalition Leaders of Arizona.
When I grow up, I want to be a teacher.
Because when I'm a teacher, I can help kids to learn and chase their dreams.
PI, a defect of the immune system, affects millions of children. Early and accurate diagnosis and treatment give children like Sam a chance to achieve their dreams.
It takes a lot of caring teachers to make school fun. It took a lot of caring people to keep my dream alive. And now, because of them, I can be head of the class.
For more information, visit the Jeffrey Modell Foundation at info4pi.org.
Money makes the sports world go round, and nobody follows the dollars like we do. This is the Money Line, where Roc takes you off the field and into the boardroom, the courtroom, and the bank. The deals, the contracts, the franchise sales, the billion-dollar bets, the business that runs the games you love. Grab a pen because this is your trip around the business of sports. Let's get into the Money Line.
All right, we spent so much time talking about quarterbacks, preseason polls, and who's going to win the SEC. But after reading through the biggest sports business stories this weekend, I realized something. The biggest stories of sports right now aren't happening on the field. They're happening in the courtroom, the boardrooms, Congress. If you really want to understand where sports are headed, follow the money. So let's start with college football. The NCAA just took another beating. A federal judge ruled that athletes from the class of 2022 get another year of eligibility. Think about what that means. Schools thought rosters were finalized. Coaches thought recruiting was over. NIL budgets were set. Now everything changes just weeks before the kickoff. And at this point, I don't think the NCAA is running college sports anymore. They're clearly not. I think they're reacting to whatever the judge tells them what to do. And here's what really caught my eye is almost immediately after that ruling, the SEC and the Big Ten, who've been dragging their feet for months, suddenly said they support the federal college sports bill. That tells me they don't think the NCAA can fix this anymore. They're looking to Congress to create one national rule book because this thing has complete chaos behind it.
Yeah, they finally signed off on Friday night. Their deadline was, I think, Thursday at 9. Friday night they signed off on this, and they sent that back to Congress. So I think the key question right now, I think what you've alluded to, Roc, is that is our federal government, pretty much the judges, running, or pretty much they're the, I'm not going to use the term Gestapo, they are the guardrail or the institution of the NCAA to say what you can and can't do. That's the key right there. And it's pretty much taken that entire village of federal judges and the government to dictate what everybody wants. President Trump got the bill on Thursday with the addendums, and he's probably going to sign off on this. But you're right. It really is, I feel, the federal judges or the government that's dictating to the NCAA what they can and can't do.
All right, move on to the college football playoff. They still can't agree on expansion. Everybody says they want more teams. Nobody agrees on how many of those spots should be handed out. The SEC, of course, wants guaranteed bids along with the Big Ten. The ACC and the Big 12 say, no, earn it. Everybody says they're doing what's best for college football, but let's be honest. They're doing what's best for their conference. More TV money, more sponsorships, more recruiting power. Everybody wants a bigger piece of the pie. And then you got Notre Dame and Ohio State announcing they're putting sponsor patches on their football jerseys. And if those two schools are going to do it, everyone else is going to follow. 5 years ago, people would have screamed, you're ruining tradition, especially Notre Dame. Today, schools need the revenue. Of course, we know that. Revenue sharing is here. NIL is here. Expenses are exploding. If somebody offers you millions to put a logo on your sleeve, you're cashing a check.
Yeah, and the rich get richer, right, Roc? I mean, that's the way it's going to be. And I think that, what Ty Winningham had to say, the Michigan coach, that's right, now the Michigan coach, talked about the Super Conference of 45 teams plus or minus last week in the Big Ten media days. And I think anytime you hear coaches or athletic directors or presidents talk about that kind of venue or where they're going, hey, folks, where there's smoke, there's fire. So, again, those teams that can afford it, that get the big bucks from ESPN or other avenues, they're going to dictate the way college football goes. And I think this is a prime example of that. Notre Dame, USC, will there be anybody else that gets the patch of whatever that number is to fill their conference and get better players?
All right, now let's move to the NFL. Roger Goodell expects to get another contract extension. And every year, fans boom at the NFL draft, right? But if you're an NFL owner, why would you replace them?
Exactly.
The league revenues continue to grow. The franchise values have skyrocketed. TV contracts are worth $100 billion or more. The NFL has never been any stronger than it is right now. Fans judge Goodell differently than owners do. Fans judge him basically on that discipline. Somebody does something stupid or whatever, he's in charge of the discipline. Owners, well, they judge him on their bank accounts. And that is the measurement. He's probably the most successful commissioner in sports history in any sport. And now we find out that the NFL has got a new official spirit sponsor. So you think about it, how much of the league has changed? Years ago, no gambling, no liquor, protect the shield. Now it's official sports books, official casinos, official whiskey, official vodka. Why? Because it's revenue. The NFL is interested. It's a business. How about that?
I think if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's how the owners feel about Roger Goodell, as progressive as he's been. And on top of that, look at all the streaming venues that they're going after. Again, talking about the money, increasing the money, and there it is. I mean, we're not happy as fans with all the platforms where the National Football League is going, but the owners are saying, hey, look, we're seeing our product exponentially grow even more so. But let's add this, Roc. Look at all the international games that are going to be out there. I mean, there will be a point in time, there will be 18 international games. What is it, like 8 or 9 this year? There will be an international game, I feel, in the very near future. And on top of that, I feel in the very near future, there will be maybe not so much an expansion, but you'll see a team that will be sharing a stadium. They'll go maybe half their games over at Wembley, maybe the other half here in the States. I think Jacksonville could be one of that team, if not that team, to expand even more so. So I think the expansion internationally, the streaming, and then to your point, the alcohol, the DraftKings, the FanDuels, et cetera, is just, for those pocketbooks of those owners, has just blown up.
Some college news. USC and Notre Dame announced they've agreed to a 4-year football series. It'll start 2030 during week 1 of the season. It'll be at the Coliseum. The following year, the teams will play week 1 at Notre Dame in 2032 and 2033. They will be played during weeks 1 through 3 of the season. So USC coach Lincoln Riley said that he's pretty happy that the Trojans' annual rivalry game with Notre Dame is back. So I think that's great for football.
It's traditional. USC Notre Dame every year. And for them to stop that, SC grads, Notre Dame grads, all of them not happy with the pause, as I like to call it. So nice to see that one of the pure traditions of college football will be there. I mean, you imagine if Ohio State, Michigan stopped, Miami, Florida, you look at some of the great rivalries, Army-Navy or something like that, fans would just blow up, college football or the NCAA. But nice to see both these teams. And not to mention, to your theme, Rock, the money line, look how much more money from a TV standpoint, the DraftKings, all the sales that's at those stadiums are coming to play as well.
All right, we're hooking somebody up with a portable Roc and Manuch and Jimmy B Bluetooth speaker, brand new. We just ordered a bunch of them, plus a $100 gift card from Big's American Bar and Grill. That's our home for Monday Night Football. All you got to do is text ESPN to 59925. That's ESPN to 59925. Standard message, data rates apply. Big's, where the food's hot, the beer's cold, and sports fans call home. All right, 7 straight at home against San Diego and then LA, that being the Dodgers. A rotation that's missing Burns and Gallen and Nelson, and a front office that had almost no money to work with. We haven't heard anything of the trade deadline. We're going to catch up with Barry Bloom. He will talk to us next, right after this Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B Sports update.
It's now time for your Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B's ESPN 620 Sports Center update. I'm Matt Lazarus. The D-backs took 2 or 3 from the Cleveland Guardians over the weekend as their lengthy road trip has finally come to an end. Arizona now returns home to Chase Field for the start of a crucial 3-game set against the San Diego Padres as the NL wildcard race continues to tighten. Brandon Fought will get the start tonight for the D-backs with first pitch set for 6:40. And pregame coverage getting underway at 6 on 98.7 FM, also streaming live on the Arizona Sports app. This Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B ESPN 620 Sports Center update is powered by Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks is the best in the game. From bigger game days to UFC fight nights, there's no better place to catch all the action. Plus, with a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch, you can enjoy great food from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Living in the Valley of the Sun means we're always battling the heat on the golf course, at work, or just getting through the day. To stay sharp, you need more than energy. You need hydration. You need Phoenix Hydration Energy, spelled Phoenix, like the city we love. Phoenix gives you clean, natural energy from green tea, plus 3 times the electrolytes of leading sports drinks. No crash, no junk, just pure performance. Grab Phoenix Hydration Energy today at 7-Eleven, Quick Trip, or Circle K. Phoenix Hydration Energy. Rise up.
Rock for WrightToyota.com. At Wright Toyota, they'd like you to get to know them. Their goal is to make buying your next vehicle the kind of experience that earns your recommendation to family and friends. They invite you to use all of their innovative web tools on WrightToyota.com. So if you're looking for a new or pre-owned Toyota, head to their interactive website at WrightToyota.com. The right price, the right selection, all at WrightToyota.com.
Ball players, legends. One incredible weekend of golf. It's the MLB Retired Players Association Celebrity Classic, September 19th through the 21st at Ocotillo Golf Club in Chandler. Play around paired with an actual MLB player, plus swag, breakfast, and lunch while raising money for retired players, kids with autism through music movement, and ASU baseball scholarships. Foursomes are going fast. Register today at music-movement.org. That's music-movement.org. When hot is not an option, Stay Cool delivers. From patios to warehouses, shops to summer events, Stay Cool's Slim Cool Elite and Cool Cube mobile air coolers deliver more air for less money. They're rust-free and backed by more than 40 years of experience keeping you cool. Available now online at Home Depot, Lowe's, and Tractor Supply. Shipped to the store or right to your door. Visit staycool-products.com. Slim Cool Elite and Cool Cube. Get yours today with free shipping and beat the heat. When it's game time in the Valley, you know what time it is. It's Twin Peaks time. Head to Twin Peaks with 5 Valley locations and massive screens everywhere you look. From basketball, baseball, to hockey, fights, and more, there's no better place to catch every play and all the action. Bud Light is a proud partner of sports fans everywhere. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
Game on Peoria. When it's time to eat big, drink cold, and watch every play, make it Big's American Bar and Grill in the P83 district. Big's is serving up huge portions of your favorites. Burgers, wings, nachos, plus a full bar and TVs everywhere you look. And don't miss happy hour Monday through Thursday, 3 to 6:30 p.m. with $2 off well drinks and $2 off domestic drafts, plus daily specials all week long. Bring your friends, grab a seat on the patio, and settle in for the game. Big's American Bar and Grill, where Peoria comes to play, eat, and watch.
That's a Wright Toyota on Frank Lloyd Wright, where the guys are live from 1 to 4. Wright Toyota, the right place, the right selection, and always the right dealership, and always open at WrightToyota.com.
0-2. Swing and a miss. Strike three. Another changeup and a dozen punch outs for Tarek Skubal. The tickets are piling up.
All right, Skubal to LA. We don't need to talk about that. As we keep refreshing the MLB tracker at MLB.com, see if Mike Hazen and his team has made any moves, but 30 minutes still to go here, 29 minutes until the MLB draft. The NFL trade deadline is over. Barry Bloom joins us now from Forbes, and I got to ask you, Barry. I mean, it's been quiet for the D-backs. Did you expect it to be quiet, or there's still some time for them to make some moves?
Well, there's always time, until it comes down. I remember the 1 year at the last minute, Manny Ramirez was traded by the Red Sox to the Dodgers. So, and that was probably the most surprising thing to happen at the deadline. But I think if you look at the players that the D-backs have, the pitchers who they have coming back, hopefully for them, that they probably don't need to make a lot of moves this year. That, certainly they weren't going to sell this year. And at this point, I don't think they want to give up much of what they have in the minor leagues, at the stopgap for the president. I think they have a pretty good, decent starting rotation, and the bullpen's not bad. And, they're a shot. They've got to make a shot at getting the wild card. And, like I said at the beginning of the season, both teams, the Giants, the Padres, the three teams, the Diamondbacks, just forget about the Dodgers and find a way to win 87 games and make the playoffs. And that's pretty much where it is. The Dodgers have obviously distanced themselves out in the division. And so now it's like, well, make the playoffs, get in, and see what you can do.
Barry, walk us through the last hour before a trade deadline. What do you think it sounds like in the front office? How much is done in that window?
I think it just varies from team to team. Obviously, within the Dodger realm, there's probably not much going on in their headquarters at this point because they don't really need anything, but you've had teams that, like the Red Sox, have been shuffling all day. I think the Yankees could probably make a deal between now and the deadline. So I would think there's some frenzy going on there. I'm not sure that there's much frenzy in the Diamondbacks or even the Padres at this point. I think the Padres could use another starting pitcher. They got Robbie Ray today, who'll be a decent stopgap, but they've got also pitchers coming. If Musgrove and Pivetta keep moving along the way they are, by September they should have them. And so their starting rotation with Ray and the top of the rotation that they have already with Buehler and King shouldn't be too bad. It should be serviceable. And again, they're in the same situation as the as the Diamondbacks. So I mean, I think really once Skubal came off the table as fast as he did, and then the other second line pitchers, Peralta, those guys came off the table. Clay Holmes went, guys who are injured going now. I mean, Reichman just went to the Red Sox from there. Else he's not going to be back until the middle of August. It's like, I think what people are going to be done here, and it's maybe you could argue the fact that this trade deadline should be pushed back, like the NHL has it about a month ago in the season, when you know whether you're making the playoffs or not, or you're in a run for it, and then the buyers, then outnumber the sellers, instead of this situation here where it was even all, and you have a team like the Giants who's just dropping people all over the place.
Barry, you look at, you alluded to the Cardinals. I mean, it's almost as if Mike Hazen feels that those that come back off the injured list will suffice if they are going to make a move and pick somebody up. I know the one thing with Kepler will not be eligible for the postseason after his suspension. Is there anybody else that might be out there that could enhance this offense, could enhance the starting rotation? Because you got two young guys in Drake and Pratt who are pretty much, they're holding serve right now till the other guys get back. But you also think of when those other guys get back, they're going to have to get themselves back into the groove for a couple, 2, 3, 4 starts as well.
Well, I think you illustrated their problem very well, that, essentially they've got a couple of their AAA players who might have been available in deals under different circumstances who are not available right now because they're already filling spots at the major leagues. And so you go down, and how deep is the Diamondbacks minor league system at this point? And once these guys do come back, when you get, Martinez to come back, you've got maybe Puck, who knows? I mean, maybe Zach. I mean, they've got guys who are serviceable, where if you can get them back for September, you can do something. So why give up your young players for stopgap when you don't even know who's going to be available? And I think it's not just them. I think there's a number of teams that are like that. And really, I keep hearing people complaining about the Dodgers getting Skubal. And number one, Skubal told the Tigers he wanted to go to the Dodgers, and Tigers accommodated him. That's number one. Number two, with the embarrassment of riches that the Dodgers have, they have Ohtani, Snell, and Glasnow all in different stages of rehab in their pitching prowess, and who knows what they're going to be able to do and what they're going to be able to give when they come back, and whether they're even going to stay healthy. So, I mean, the Dodgers are a lot more fragile than anybody wants to believe. And look, they just had a horrendous weekend at home against the Red Sox. So, I mean, people who think that the Dodgers basically cemented a three-peat by picking up Skubal, hey, don't forget Skubal had elbow surgery this season too. So who knows what his long-term availability is going to be, and whether his elbow is even going to stay healthy too. So everybody is a question mark. And like I said with the Padres, you got maybe Pivetta and Musgrove, but that's the question on any injured player coming back. By the time they get back into the rotation and what they can do and what they can manage, basically as they're building back up, there's a couple of minor league rehabs, and then you go. It's like spring training again all over for these guys. And I don't really, with the Dodgers, I'm not sure you're ever going to see Ohtani pitch again this season.
Interesting you bring that up, because we talked about that the other day. When the guys are available, the Corbin Burns, the Ryan Nelsons of the world, Soroka, on and on and on, how long will it take to get them is it 2 starts? Is it 3? Is it 4 starts? That if you get to the end of September and you do sneak in the back door, how viable or how good will they be if they're starting to build their pitches back up on a short period of time?
Well, I mean, obviously, I think of the group, Soroka is probably the guy who has a better chance of coming back and coming back quickly and making a dent. But I still have my doubts. I certainly have my doubts about Burns coming back this season. You know, they've been talking a good game about that for a while, and certainly before the setback. But you know, that teres major stuff in the back of his shoulder, on top of an elbow rehab from Tommy John surgery. I don't see getting a lot out of Corbin Burns this season. And so Ryan Nelson, I mean, he got hurt in the middle of the season. I don't see much out of Ryan Nelson for them this season either. So it's essentially what they have, Soroka, and I guess they just didn't want to go out in the market, because once you start thinning the ranks of the pitchers, look, Peralta was traded from the Mets because he had an awful season. Is Tampa Bay going to be able to straighten him out? What's he going to be worth? It reminds me of Giolito a couple of years ago, and even with the Padres this year. It's like, oh, my God, we signed Giolito. Wait till Giolito comes back. And he never came back. He was always wretched. So I think if I'm a general manager, I have to sit there and say, you know, what's the worth of picking up an extra guy when our chances of going deep in the playoffs are not very good anyway? Let's just make the playoffs and see where it goes, kind of like the Diamondbacks did in 2023. You know, they went in there, they upset the Dodgers. Nobody thought that they were going to do that. You know, then they upset the Phillies. Now suddenly they're in the World Series. I think they beat the Brewers in the first round. It was on the road in the wild card series. Those are unlikely runs to go that deep, that quickly. Plus, let's not forget, you know, they've got Frott too, who's had pretty good comeback after they brought him back up from the minor leagues, and he's doing pretty well too. So he's in the rotation mix also. I mean, to me, I think you're counting the chickens before they hatch, to be cliche. But when you're talking about getting Nelson and Burns back to contribute anything this year, and I want to see what Martinez is going to have too, because he's another guy coming back from Tommy John surgery. And the returnees from Tommy John surgery immediately, the record for them is not very good.
Barry, real quick, we're up against it, but I want to get your thoughts on San Diego. You cover this team. They kind of went from despair to, I don't know where they're at right now. In about 10 games, 8 wins, I think, in their last 9. They're on fire. You know, there was talk of Mason Miller being dealt and all that, and that has not happened. But what is the fan base? How are they feeling? I just was in San Diego over the weekend, and, you know, the bars are packed watching this team, and it's all they got there in San Diego. But what is the sentiment, the fans' sentiment?
You know, I think the sentiment is, you know, Petco Park is a fun place to go. The Padres they're interesting. You know, they're competitive. They went through a cycle in June and early July where their stars just weren't hitting. You know, Machado, Merrill, Cronenworth came back from concussion. The shortstop. I mean, it's like everybody who in the lineup, when you have Manny batting around 200 and Merrill batting around 200 and Tatis with 5 or 6 home runs the first half of the season, what are you going to do? But you figured they were going to come around because these are solid professional hitters all in their prime. And that's what happened when you dawned on July. And you also have they got good matchups. I mean, really, the last homestand coming into the trade deadline, they had the Rockies and the Giants, and they won 5 out of 6, you know, which is what you need to do in those circumstances. So to me, they are drawing 40,000 people a game at Petco no matter what. It's a destination ballpark. Like you said, there's nothing else in town professionally. The fans jumped on the bandwagon a few years ago when Peter Seidler and that group invested in the team. They haven't had a fire sale. So, I mean, and there have been a number of them in Padre history, but not with this crew. And the team is not even, it's up for sale, and the sale to Feliciano and his wife is not even closed. So I don't think there was a lot of money for them to spend at this trade deadline. But, the whole notion of them trading Mason Miller when he has 3 years of attachment under control to the club at this point was absurd, because if it wasn't for Mason Miller, they'd be 15, 20 games under 500 like the Giants. I mean, Mason Miller has attributed to 55 to 60% of their victories. When they have a close game, Mason Miller brings it home. Even the other day when he blew for his first save of the season, he still got the win. I mean, you don't trade guys like that. You don't trade Marahone. Basically, you don't lessen yourself, because if you want to make a run, you want to show the fans that you want to make a run, you add, you don't subtract. And it was absurd unless they continued not to hit and did not climb their way back above 500, maybe under those circumstances. But I just didn't see a lot of stuff going on with them this year because of the sale is not final.
He's Barry Bloom. As always, buddy, thank you so much. Appreciate you. And we'll catch up with you next week or week after. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I think that, for some of these clubs, it's going to be an interesting, Padres and Diamondbacks. 2 months to go, you have Yankees coming into both places. It's going to be a really exciting end to the season. Same for the Phillies, Rays. I mean, with all the complaints about non-competitive balance in baseball, there are a lot of teams, White Sox, who just loaded up at the trade deadline today. I mean, there are a lot of teams, likely and unlikely, who are in the mix right now.
It's going to be a fun finish.
And I left out the Brewers, who have got the best record in the league.
Barry, thank you, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks for having me on, always.
Always. Barry Bloom joining us, Major League Baseball columnist for Forbes, Times of San Diego, and the Chicago Sun-Times. You can follow him on Twitter or X at Boomski. So good stuff. Appreciate his time. 33 new head coaches in FBS alone. Most ever. Of course, we know about Kiffin walked out of Ole Miss before the first playoff game. Campbell took his quarterback from Iowa State to Penn State. Of course, Dillingham's still here at Tempe after he turned down stupid money to go to Michigan. We're going to get into that next. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B from Wright Toyota in Scottsdale.
Nobody does happy hour like Twin Peaks. Nobody. Whatever you're craving, we got it. Tequila cocktails, premium bourbon pours, and top shelf spirits served over ice balls that hit just right. Local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails, yep, all here. And with 5 Valley locations. And don't forget the teeth-chattering 29-degree drafts we're famous for. Pair it all with scratch kitchen bites that actually satisfy. From shareables to hearty favorites. When it comes to happy hour, Twin Peaks doesn't play. Twin Peaks eats, drinks, scenic views.
Arizona's headquarters for Toyotas is Wright Toyota. Hey, Rock, for my friends at Wright Toyota in Scottsdale. You will always find the right deal at Wright Toyota. Wright Toyota has been driving Arizona's home for years with their amazing service, pricing, and great selections. I encourage you to discover the difference at Wright Toyota. Make the right choice, Wright Toyota, just off the 101 on Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard, and always online at WrightToyota.com. The right price, the right selection. Check out WrightToyota.com.
Join the team at All City Towing, Arizona's largest towing company and leader in roadside service. We're hiring dispatchers, call takers, lot attendants, drivers, and customer service pros ready to grow with us. You'll enjoy state-of-the-art equipment, consistent schedules, full health benefits, a strong 401k match, employer life insurance, and a monthly fuel allowance. Take your career to the next level. Apply today at allcitytowing.com. All City Towing, where your future is always moving forward.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I'm attorney Kevin Rowe. The insurance company's job is to pay you as little as possible. Our job is to get you every dollar you deserve. Call Lerner and Rowe today and let's make them pay. Call 977-1900.
Now open in North Scottsdale. It's the Orangedale Lounge. ODs, right off Thompson Peak and Bell, next to Bash's. Your new favorite dive bar has arrived. Cold drafts, chill vibes, always affordable prices, and the OD Mug Club, a one-of-a-kind membership you won't find anywhere else. No frills, just great people, ice-cold drinks, and a bar that feels like it's always been there. Follow at OD Scottsdale and get the scoop at orangedalelounge.com. Orangedale Lounge. Dive in and drink up.
Life can throw a lot your way. For some, that includes first episode psychosis, or FEP. It can feel overwhelming, like hearing or seeing things that aren't there, or feeling disconnected from reality. The good news? FEP can be treated. Recovery can include medication, therapy, and support from peers. There are programs across Arizona with people who understand and are ready to walk with you. It all starts with one click. Visit learnmorefep.org. Sponsored by MacForce, working to build healthier communities.
Petco Wright Toyota on Frank Lloyd Wright, where the guys are live from 1 to 4. Wright Toyota, the right place, the right selection, and always the right dealership, and always open at wrighttoyota.com.
All right, the college football fall camp open across the country this week, and it's crazy to know that there are more than 50 new head football coaches starting their first season at Division I level right now. 33 in FBS, 25 in FCS. That's 58 new voices in 58 buildings, and that FBS number is an all-time record. So that's 1 out of 4 programs in major college football has somebody else running it this fall. And this isn't about guys that are getting fired for losing anymore. These are coaches leaving on their own. I mean, mid-playoff runs, taking half the roster with them. I mean, you go back to last year and you look at some of the blue chip firings, and I'm just going to rapid fire this, but UCLA and Virginia Tech both pulled the trigger after 0-3 starts. On September 14th, Oklahoma State parted with Mike Gundy on the 23rd. Arkansas dismissed Sam Pittman on the 28th. I mean, October 12th was a bloodbath. Penn State fired James Franklin. Oregon State, Trent Bray. UNAB canned Trent Dilfer after 18 games. October 19th, Florida fired Billy Napier. And Colorado State fired Jay Norvell. October 26th, LSU fired Brian Kelly. November 2nd, Auburn fired Hugh Freeze. Less than 24 hours after a home loss to Kentucky dropped him from 4 and 5. I mean, these coaches don't leave programs anymore. They relocate them. That's what's going on. You look at Matt Campbell, goes to Penn State, took Rocco Beck with him, took Carson Hansen as his running back, took his wide receiver, Chase Sowell, his Benjamin Bralmer, who's the tight end. They all were at Ohio State. They're all now at Penn State. Kiffin, his exit, that's a case study. I mean, he left Ole Miss for LSU right before the Rebels played their first college football game. And that's their first one in school history on September. What was that? It was early. And the hires nobody rated are the ones that work, if you look at it. Scott Frost at Nebraska, Billy Napier at Florida looked perfect. They flamed out. Kenny Dillingham, I don't think a lot of people thought that was going to work here at Arizona State.
Correct.
That worked great. Manny Diaz at Duke worked great. So there are some good deals out there. And you look at Dillingham, he's now one of the most stable head coaches in the sport. 3 years ago, nobody outside the Valley thought that hire mattered. In a year where 58 programs are starting over, ASU's not one of them. That's an advantage that nobody is talking about. I mean, there was some rumors out there that he was offered 4 houses, a couple planes, and he turned it down in an open checkbook to go to Michigan, and he stayed here.
You know, that's you lay that out like that, Rocky. Okay, here's a young man that grew up in Kenny Dillingham, grew up, was a Sun Devil, wants to see his program turned around. Here you have when's the last time we ever heard of for season tickets, people waiting for season tickets? He wanted to turn this down. And that's amazing. You get that kind of offer from a major school like Michigan, allegedly. Tough to turn that down. But I think for a lot of these young coaches, if they have unfinished business, they want to build a program, they love it, they want to sit tight, keep their families there. You're starting to see some of those coaches build that. Now, with the other coaches that got fired, some of those guys had, a couple bad seasons prior to. And then I think the ADs felt, okay, we're going to go down that road again. You're 0-3, you're 0-4. Let's just cut the cord now, move on, get an interim person, and then go hire somebody else. I mean, Trent Dilfer. I mean, what he's doing with AAB, bit difficult at best for him to deal with that. Some of these other coaches, they had struggled. Pittman at Arkansas the 2 years before. And a lot of ADs go, it's just not getting done. And here's the other thing. These ADs, these presidents are going, well, we're paying this team there's over $15, $20 million invested in the players in this team. And if we're not seeing things turn around or turn around quickly, Roc, it's like the pro game all over again. These coaches aren't getting it turned around, but the way the money is being paid to these kids in NIL, and I think that's a detriment to those programs. And I think the revolving door continues to happen.
All right, football is back this Thursday. Big's American Bar and Grill is back as your home for Monday Night Football as well. They'll have all the preseason action, the regular season madness, and the perfect place to host your fantasy football draft. It's all happening in Big's in Peoria, just off the 101 on 83rd Avenue in Bell in Peoria. Hit them up at bigspeoria.com to lock in your fantasy draft party. All right, we are going to talk, yes, the D-backs made a move. We're going to talk about that. And I'm going to say something about the WNBA that a lot of people won't want to hear. It has nothing to do with politics, Manuch. It's about what happens when the only reason anybody's talking about your league is because everything except your league. If that's the case, no one's talking about it. We'll get into that next.
Here's the deal. The government is over $38 trillion in debt, which means the IRS isn't slowing down. And the tax code is complex and unforgiving. So it's not surprising if you're one of the millions of Americans that owe back taxes to the IRS. Unfortunately, they're the world's most powerful collection agency, with the ability to garnish your wages, seize your bank accounts, and even take your home or business. But don't be stressed or worried any longer. We're Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. We have resolved over $3 billion in tax debt for our clients. Our award-winning professionals deal with the IRS every single day, protecting our clients and preparing them for the best possible resolution. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, give Optima a call today.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. Call 800-948-7878. That's 800-948-7878. 800-948-7878.
Now you can take Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B wherever you go. Enter to win our exclusive Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B portable Bluetooth speaker. Perfect for the pool, the patio, the golf course, camping, or your next tailgate. Plus, you'll also have a chance to win a $100 Big's American Bar and Grill gift card. Just text ESPN to 59925 to enter. That's ESPN to 59925. Brought to you by Big's American Bar and Grill. Great food, cold drinks, and the home of Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Right here on ESPN Radio 620. When tragedy strikes, the impact is immediate and devastating. That's when the 100 Club of Arizona steps in. providing financial assistance, guidance, and emotional support to the families of public safety officers injured or killed in the line of duty. They also invest in mental health resources, injury prevention, and scholarships for the children of first responders. Every day, Arizona's public safety professionals put their lives on the line. The 100 Club of Arizona has their back. Learn more at 100club.org.
KTAR AM Phoenix, Arizona's home for the worldwide leader in sports, is ESPN 620. Back to Wright Toyota on Frank Lloyd Wright, where the guys are live from 1 to 4. Wright Toyota, the right place, the right selection, and always the right dealership, and always open at WrightToyota.com.
All right, Roc Manuch with you out here, right Toyota. D-backs have acquired Lars Nootbaar from the Cardinals. What'd they give up for him, Manuch?
I don't know what to give up for him. I did
Come
not.
on, dude. You're a Cardinal fan.
All I know is
Why don't you bring some content to the show?
Lars Nootbaar. I didn't see.
Laz?
I didn't see what the
How do you guys give me this to purport and you can't tell me who's
Lars
in the deal?
All right, Laz. Who'd they give away for Nootbaar?
They have not given the return yet back, but I have an eye on all of these different sources from Passan to Ollie Gonzalez and them. So the second I hear anything, you guys will know.
Yeah, you tell Jeff we'll bring him right on, and we'll find out.
I haven't said anything either. So as far as I know, Lars Nootbaar coming.
What can you tell
Diamondback.
us about him, Manuch?
He's solid. He's not. He got a little pop in his bat. 28 years old. He's
Does it make me want to go to a game tomorrow?
I think he's just an insurance policy, Rock, right now.
Insurance for what?
Well, you got Lawler still rehabbing. By the way, he got hit in the hand again this last weekend.
He's an outfielder, right?
Yep, he's a left fielder, solid left fielder. Gurriel, he's still rehabbing. You're not going to have Kepler for the playoffs, so I think his insurance policy is a guy that can play day in and day out. He's a righty, throws right-handed, hits left-handed. Pretty solid as far as that's concerned. Not going to light the world on fire. He's got a little pop in his bat. That's all.
He's going to enter free agency after next season, so he will be here for a little while unless they move him again. But
I think he's just
disappointing trade deadline.
He's nothing more than
overall disappointing.
Oh,
trade
absolutely.
deadline.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is. I would like
when
to
you
see
got the Phillies making moves for a first baseman and for some relief help, and they're just right there with the D-backs when it comes to the wild card. It's such BS. Spend some freaking money. Make some moves.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of, Rock, the reason why nothing has happened is they feel pretty good about the lineups that's set. And I'm one of those guys that's okay. If a lot of your starters aren't coming back for another 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or if they come back at all, with Soroka probably the only guy that comes back in the meantime, then you're going to put your hopes on continuing to be in that wild card on the two rookies, on Drake and Brad. That's a high risk as far as that's concerned. And then Merrill Kelly, he's up, he's down, he's up, he's down. We don't know when Zach Gallen's coming back.
I just wish the team would just come out and say, hey, we're broke. We're broke.
They're not
broke. Payroll's the highest in their franchise history. They're dealing with the competitive balance tax. It's at the ceiling. They're under $10 million. They have $10 million to absorb. They're not planning to exceed that threshold. So any real substance or players – it's going to require sending that salary cap the other way. And maybe that's why they're not want to go there. A salary the other way, not salary cap. So it's like, come on.
Yeah, I don't blame anybody is broke, Rock. I think whatever their situation is, if they really want to push the envelope and make this a for sure thing that they're going to make a good hard run, and they might feel that. But I think that these guys are billionaires. They can spend the money. They can go after top-notch first baseman. They can go after another starter. They can go rent a player whose contract is expiring. They can go do all this. So when people say, well, even I think Derek Hall mentioned that. Well, we'll look at the tax ramifications. Fans don't want to hear that. They want to know, hey, is this a year that we can catch lightning in a bottle like they did 2 years ago or 3 years ago in 2023, go get the necessary players to make that a for sure thing. And if they feel that they've got the guys without making any moves, explain to us, who are those guys? Where are you at? What are your strategy? Especially when right now your left field is leaking oil with Kepler, who's not going to be there. You have two other guys hurt. Okay, so you got Nootbaar coming in from St. Louis. Okay, pretty solid.
How are you defending this, Manuch?
I'm not defending at all. I'm just what I'm trying to
feel like you feel like you're defending.
No,
why can't if this is another market, a bigger market, fans would be blowing up this team right now and saying, "Let's go." You're right there.
That's what I just said, Rock. I just said
but you're making excuses.
no. I'm not. I'm not. I just said
You're defending him.
I just said Derek Hall just mentioned that the
was
checks
last
replicate.
week.
Right. And I said fans don't want to buy that. So I'm not buying that at all. Fans want you to spend the money. They can spend the money to go in and fill holes, whether it's at first base or another starter. And I just said I find it hard to believe that this team feels they're settled to go to make that run in the wild card.
Well,
and if they are, why is that?
But Derek said he was on Vince and
right
and Bickley, right?
Right.
Murata, Bickley and Murata. And he basically said he'd be surprised if they didn't make any moves. And that's the CEO.
Right.
And they finished the day empty.
Right. I agree. And I'm appalled that you can have, and I just have never seen teams make a solid run with first base by committee. When you got, I just mentioned it, you got 2 rookies in your rotation, and you're going to trust those rookies without not knowing those other guys, Soroka, Zach Gallen, Ryan Nelson, and Corbin Burns are going to come back. I just built the case, Rock, why they should be out there buying.
Well,
I'm not defending them at all.
You kind of are.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
All 29 other teams know how thin this D-backs
Sure they do.
rotation is. And that's what makes these deals even more expensive. But here's the challenge, though. There's 21 teams still alive. So nobody's going to do a discount, right? I mean, there's 21 teams. But still, spend the money, you're going to be able to make it. Money talks.
And you see what Boston's doing with
but they're winning.
Yeah, but they're making sure they got Baltimore's catcher coming in. He'll be ready in 2 or 3 weeks. Phillies went and purchased a couple guys. Reza, they got him. You look what the Dodgers did. Those are teams that are serious about having no wiggle room and going and making sure they make the playoffs or the wild card. And I think that's the way you got to build it. Diamondback fans don't want to see pretty much worrying about your taxes or, hey, we can build it.
We don't care about that.
No, we don't care about that at all. Now, I think I think Mike Hazen and Ken Kendrick, as far as the managing general partner, are saying, hey, well, look, 3 years ago, we did it. Slim pickings, we had guys get hot, and we snuck in the back door. We went to the World Series. That might have been a faux way of getting there, but they got there. And then the following year, they missed out by 2 games. Last year, they missed out by a couple games. And they're going, well, we did it with a budget, and we're going to live by that. Well, okay, you bought it by the skin of your teeth. Why not go ahead and make sure, get the necessary players, not to just get you to the playoffs and get you the wild card. How about we get there where we can actually win and have a chance of winning the pennant? So I think sometimes teams go, well, we're resolved. The Dodgers are the teams or the Phillies are the team, and we're just going to try to do our best with what little we have as far as going ahead and having a lower pay structure. People don't want to buy that. The reason why you show up is you try to win it all, I would think. So, yeah, I'm very disappointed. They have not made a solid move at first base, another starter or another bat. I mean, Newbar's not a big bat. He's only got like 6 home runs this year. So he's not a guy that can take it out of the yard on a regular basis. He's just a solid left fielder. That's a guy that can give you decent at-bats, guy that can defend very, very well. He's a left-handed hitter. He's another left-handed bat. You're basically replacing Kepler, if you make the playoffs, in that lineup with a lefty and lefty. So that's the only thing I look with Newbar. He's not going to set the world on fire. Let's put it that way.
Not at all. You think he's, he feels like he got burned last year? I mean, if you look last year, it was awful. I mean, Nair, Suarez, they're all gone. Yeah. Kelly, they got all shipped out, I mean, he's hated being a seller, waited until the last few days. Then he got to re-sign Kelly, of course, in the offseason. He tore it down, rebuilt the same thing again. It's a man who's learned not to trust this 2-week stretch, I guess. But here he is. I mean, August is going to eat them alive, and he knows it. San Diego and then L.A., this season could be over this week.
Well, and here comes San Diego. You mentioned earlier they won 8 out of the last 9. It goes against Miami, San Francisco, Colorado. I get it. So they won 8 out of 9. They're feeling pretty good about themselves. The Dodgers are going to want to right the wrong. They've they've lost 7 of 8 themselves and lost the series. They're going to be fired up. And then on top of that, your 10-game homestand you have. Yeah, I agree.
And for somebody like you that looks at the road, looks at the schedule more than anybody.
Sure.
The Diamondbacks, then they go to Atlanta, then they go to Boston, then they got 3 with the Cubs.
That's why you
make moves.
That's exactly why. When you look ahead, you look at the week, the next 10 games at home, who you're playing, then you go on the road. Why not build for August and September? And I just think that they haven't. If they feel confident that these young guys on the mound, the inconsistencies at first base, and then Arenado, whether he's hot or not, he'll be solid at third base. But as far as hitting, and then your bottom half of the order, at all not producing are just 3 or 4 things I think they missed the boat on.
Don't you think you need to make at least one splash, even if it's got your mortgage in the future, just to keep the fan base excited to one? I just had somebody just text me, hey, I got 4 tickets for tomorrow. You want to go? And then, or for tonight. Then I got another guy text me an hour ago and says, hey, you want to go tomorrow? I'm like, no, I just don't. Even though tonight they're facing a hell of a pitcher with the Padres. Anyway, coming out of this break, I'm going to say something about the WNBA that a lot of people won't want to hear. It has got nothing to do with politics. If you listen to the show, I talk politics once in a while. But it's about what happens when the only reason anybody's talking about your league is everything except your league. That's next. It's Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B from Wright Toyota.
Game on Peoria. When it's time to eat big, drink cold, and watch every play, make it Big's American Bar and Grill in the P83 district. Big's is serving up huge portions of your favorites. Burgers, wings, nachos, plus a full bar and TVs everywhere you look. And don't miss happy hour Monday through Thursday, 3 to 6:30 p.m. with $2 off well drinks and $2 off domestic drafts, plus daily specials all week long. Bring your friends, grab a seat on the patio, and settle in for the game. Big's American Bar and Grill, where Peoria comes to play, eat, and watch.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I'm Kevin Rowe from Lerner and Rowe, and we've been serving Arizonans for 20 years. Make the best choice after an accident. Call 977-1900. That's 977-1900.
Lerner and Rowe, it's the way to go. Call 977-1900. 977-1900.
Lace up for a great cause. Join the 33rd annual Frank Cush Youth Foundation Running for the Broads on Saturday, October 10th at Tempe Beach Park during the Four Peaks Oktoberfest. Every step helps support youth athletics, including girls flag football, Lady Hawk softball, the Frank Cush Scholarship at ASU, Tempe Sister Cities, and kids throughout our community. Register, donate, or volunteer today at Oktoberfest.run. That's Oktoberfest.run. Run. Give back, make a difference.
Join the team at All City Towing, Arizona's largest towing company and leader in roadside service. We're hiring dispatchers, call takers, lot attendants, drivers, and customer service pros ready to grow with us. You'll enjoy state-of-the-art equipment, consistent schedules, full health benefits, a strong 401k match, employer life insurance, and a monthly fuel allowance. Take your career to the next level. Apply today at allcitytowing.com. All City Towing, where your future is always moving forward.
Looking for a new ride? Make the right choice. Ride Honda in Scottsdale. Whether you're shopping for a fuel-efficient Civic, a family-friendly CRV, the rugged Passport, or the all-new Accord, Ride Honda has the selection, value, and customer service Arizona drivers trust. Plus, their experienced service team is here long after the sale. Visit the showroom on Scottsdale Road just south of Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard or shop anytime at RightHonda.com. That's RightHonda.com, where Arizona drives. Right Honda.
Pima JTED doesn't just work for students, it works for all of Arizona. Hands-on training, real-world skills, high school students become job-ready, and Arizona businesses get the talent they need to thrive. Without a skilled workforce, Arizona can't grow. But with Pima JTED graduates, our entire economy prospers. Join the businesses already investing in Arizona's future. Learn more at PimaJTED.org. That's PimaJTED.org. This message is sponsored by Potoff Private Philanthropy.
Back to Wright Toyota on Frank Lloyd Wright, where the guys are live from 1 to 4. Wright Toyota, the right place, the right selection, and always the right dealership, and always open at WrightToyota.com.
I think there's always going to be outside noise. But I think we've been professionals long enough to know that if you let that affect you, then you're not really here for the right things. And so for us, we just keep the main thing. And that's oops.
You're speaking of that outside noise, Sophie, your teammate. Sophie came out with
thank you. Have a good day.
Good joke. All right, about 100 people showed up outside of Target Center yesterday in Minneapolis ahead of the Lynx and Fever game. Not for the game, actually, but for Sophie Cunningham. She plays for the Fever and has said transgender women should be banned from girls and women's sports. Now, the crowd outside the arena was split down the middle, half supporting her position, half saying trans athletes should be welcome. Inside, the Lynx head coach wore a shirt reading, "Trans kids belong." Reeve and Cunningham spoke on the court before the tip. Reeves, that's who the coach is, said afterwards they both understand they have platforms and that there are things they have in common and things they see differently, and that's what matters and how it should be handled. Now, Cunningham was booed by some of the crowd every time she handled the ball. That's the game story out of Minneapolis. 100 protesters, a T-shirt, and a player booed for something she said off the floor. Laura Ingraham from Fox went after the entire league over the weekend. Not one player, the whole league. Her argument is that the WNBA has been consumed by politics and controversy instead of promoting its players and its product. Now, you can weigh the source however you want, but I don't think you can wave off the underlying question just because of who asked it. Now, my take, my full disclosure, I am not a fan of the league, never have been, never will. So my take, for exactly what it's worth, take it that way. But here's the thing I actually find interesting. It has nothing to do with whether I watch. The WNBA has never had more attention in its history than it does right now. Never. And that's the problem, because look at what's generating it. Run the last month. Protests outside arenas, a coach's T-shirt, officiating complaints, social media feuds, Caitlin Clark storylines that are more about the argument around Caitlin Clark than about Caitlin Clark playing basketball. Now, name me one thing that happened on the court in the last month. Name a shot, name a fourth quarter, name a game that mattered. Most people can't do it quickly, and that's not the fans' fault. Here's what should worry people running that league. Attention and fans are not the same thing. Attention is cheap, and it's for a short time. A fan is somebody who buys a ticket in March for a game in August. Controversy gets you a news cycle. It does not get you a season ticket holder. And the part that actually bothers me is the basketball is not bad. These players, these are elite athletes that this league playing at a high level, nobody's talking about them because every week the story is something else. If I'm one of those players, I'm curious. You spent your entire life becoming one of the best in the world at something, and your footnote is an argument that you never asked to be part of. So I don't think the controversy is growing this league. I think it's borrowing against it. And nobody seems to be asking the underneath it when the news cycle finally moves on. The product should be leading the conversation, and it isn't. That's the story. And it's an absolute joke. It clearly is a joke. And ESPN is feeding you with this. Sunday Sports Center, something we all used to look forward to with Berman and Patrick and everybody. And over the years, you've had some unbelievable hosts. Last night, it had a couple stories, and then it went right to WNBA, then right to WWE. I mean, it's consuming us because of what's going on off the court.
Yeah, and I think what seems like ESPN's trying to force feed that because of the controversy, they're trying to really focus on what's going on the court. And I agree with you, Roc. I just think that so much controversy starting the whole Caitlin Clark thing, roughhousing her, not calling the games fairly. She's getting hammered and hammered and hammered. That seems to be in the forefront. And then you have the commissioner about a month ago not coming on Dan Patrick saying she would, and then she didn't. There's that controversy. Then this whole thing with Sophia Cunningham. And I agree with her. You know, I think there's no room in women's sports for trans athletes to get converted from a male to female and be part of women's sports. There just isn't. Now, that being said, that's my opinion. That's Sophie Cunningham's opinion. It's as if we can't respect each other's opinion. We can disagree, or we can agree to disagree and have that conversation with all that. That's well and good. but I've never seen so much controversy. I think of NFL. I think of pro baseball. You get the men's and women's sports. We talk about soccer. So much controversy in one. Really, it all kind of started when Caitlin Clark last year as a rookie came in, and all the physical, I'll say it, abuse she was taking. And it seemed as though the officials, in my opinion, were in cahoots that they're going to let her play. All of that, and then this, and then there's so much that's out there. And I really do, the ESPN's trying to show a lot of highlights to highlight those individuals on the court more so than I think we do. I call it force feeding the issue. And I agree with you. I think that I've never seen a league, a pro league that has this much controversy over, let's say, a 4-month period. We'll give it 4 months.
And it's going to get worse. Next year, it's 50 games. Even if you remember when the Mercury started here in 97, they had 28 games. Now the expansion, it's like a runaway train. Everybody's jumping on. Cleveland's got a team in 2 years. Detroit's got a team in 3 years. Philly's got a team in 4 years. And then, Toronto and Portland, they debuted this year. The Connecticut team is moving to Houston. It's crazy that, there must be enough money out there or they're taking it from the NBA.
Well,
but when you're not even bringing it up, and then just so you know, folks, next year their new broadcast home is NBC. So get ready because that's going to be on a lot.
Is that the biggest hole in the spring and summer they can fill? Obviously, I think as far as program, that seems to be the way. But yeah, when this hit with Sophie Cunningham and her basically standing up, a lot of the young ladies that are out there agree with Sophie. Hey, look, you know what? We're just, all we're saying is, if you're biologically born a man and you trans, it's not fair for you to be playing in women's sports. And that's all Sophie was saying. We had a lot of thank yous from so many female athletes that are out there to say, look, we need somebody to say, we don't have to somebody has to go to court to try to go play. That was a former man in swimming or boxing, which we've seen as well too. And that's all it is. And I agree with you. Just focus on those things going on the court. But so much of the stuff on the court, Rock, was against the Caitlin Clarks of the world, the Sophie Cunninghams of the world. And the thing that's been fun to watch Sophie Cunningham is be that somewhat the sergeant at arms for that team or for Caitlin Clark. But it's just sad how the officials, how that whole thing has just gotten out of hand. And where's Adam Silver when this is all going on? Where's he been as far as being a spokesman?
I will give whoever her entourage is, whoever is her team, I give them so much credit. I mean, because Sophie Cunningham she's doing SI swimsuit. Mm-hmm. She's done stuff for Adidas, Quest. I mean, so many different businesses that she's representing. She is cashing in.
Absolutely.
She's running golf tournaments, funding Missouri high school girls basketball. She's got a Show Me Something podcast. I mean, she's beautiful. I mean, she's got everything going for her, and she's a mediocre player.
Sure. Yeah, she's decent. I mean, she's just one of those, she comes off the bench, but she is really taking advantage of this platform. And when you think of the WNBA, it's almost, you think of Caitlin Clark and I think of Sophie Cunningham. And I go, okay, those two are out front. And not a white thing, everybody. So just everybody relax. Because all the players out there, they're still phenomenal players. I get it. But, I mean, if there's somebody that's standing up for somebody or standing up for a cause, it's Sophie Cunningham. And then rightfully so she's doing it I think she's doing it the proper way.
So I'm wondering, the NCAA changed its policy February last year, when the Trump administration executive order, meaning that women's competition is limited to student athletes assigned female at birth. You wonder if that is going to, if somehow, government will get involved in the WNBA.
And then switching it over for allowing men, if you're born a male, become a female to play in the WNBA. I think I think what the government has to do is just let the leagues, if they're going to do something, let the leagues mandate that. Let the leagues do that. Because I just can't see that. It's just not fair. I couldn't see the WNBA. It's the WNBA Women's Association, not the NBA for the men. So it's just highly unlikely, I think, that it would get that far.
You said you Googled it. It showed that there is none transgender athlete.
There's none. I Googled last night with this coming down, and just saying that there's no known transgender athletes
So
playing.
nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here. So that's the whole thing. I mean, if the other side of the platform is going, well, if it's a trans athlete, they should be allowed to participate in sports. Well, okay, if that trans athlete, if they're saying they can't play in female sports, and it's an individual sport, what are you going to play in? You're not going to cross over, pardon the pun, to the female side if you're not allowed to. And you were once a male, now you're a female. They're not going to allow you to stay in the male side. So, it's just caught between a rock and a hard place if you're trans and they're not allowed to go play in a certain league.
It's so
it doesn't make it's crazy.
Well, it's funny I get the number 0. I guess, like you said, there's 2 non-binary athletes.
Yes.
That both were assigned female at birth. So it's way out of my league, some of that stuff. But anyway, we did our WNBA for the week. Hey, I've got a big promo going on. If you're out there on the golf course, you need another Bluetooth speaker to take with you. Why not take Roc Manuch with Jimmy B with you, as we have these new portable speakers that we are giving away. And we're also throwing a $100 Biggs American Bar and Biggs $100 American Bar and Grill gift card. All you got to do is text ESPN to 59925. That's ESPN to 59925. Standard message and data rates apply. That's Biggs American Bar and Grill. All right, Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson, Trey McBride. Those are the targets for the upcoming season. We're going to catch up with former Cardinals receiver Frank Sanders. He'll tell us how that room really works. He'll join us right after this Roc and Manuch to give you the sports update.
It's now time for your Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B's ESPN 620 Sports Center update. I'm Matt Lazarus. The D-backs took 2 or 3 from the Cleveland Guardians over the weekend as their lengthy road trip has finally come to an end. Arizona now returns home to Chase Field for the start of a crucial 3-game set against the San Diego Padres. The NL wildcard race continues to tighten up, and tonight Brandon Pfaadt will get the start for the D-backs with first pitch set for 6:40, and pregame coverage getting underway at 6 on 98.7 FM, also streaming live on the Arizona Sports app. This Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B ESPN 620 Sports Center update is powered by Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks is the best in the game. From bigger game days to UFC fight nights, there's no better place to catch all the action. Plus, with a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch, you can enjoy great food from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Let me remind you, Thursdays are where the weekend starts at Twin Peaks Restaurant. Grab an ice-cold Bud Light or a refreshing Michelob Ultra and catch wall-to-wall sports on massive TVs everywhere you look. Big games, cold beer, made from scratch food. Start your weekend early with Bud Light and Michelob Ultra. Thursdays at Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, and scenic views.
Rock for RightToyota.com. At Right Toyota, they'd like you to get to know them. Their goal is to make buying your next vehicle the kind of experience that earns your recommendation to family and friends. They invite you to use all of their innovative web tools on RightToyota.com. So if you're looking for a new or pre-owned Toyota, head to their interactive website at RightToyota.com. The right price, the right selection, all at RightToyota.com.
Ball players, legends. One incredible weekend of golf. It's the MLB Retired Players Association Celebrity Classic, September 19th through the 21st at Ocotillo Golf Club in Chandler. Play around paired with an actual MLB player, plus swag, breakfast, and lunch while raising money for retired players, kids with autism through Music Movement, and ASU baseball scholarships. Foursomes are going fast. Register today at music-movement.org. That's music-movement.org. When it's game time in the Valley, you know what time it is. It's Twin Peaks time. Head to Twin Peaks with 5 Valley locations and massive screens everywhere you look. From basketball, baseball, to hockey, fights, and more, there's no better place to catch every play and all the action. Bud Light is a proud partner of sports fans everywhere. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
It's heating up across Arizona. Make sure you know the signs of heat stress, cramps, rashes, exhaustion, dizziness. Working in high temperatures can be dangerous. It can lead to an altered mental state, damage your organs, and even cause death. Protect yourself. Get plenty of water, rest, and shade during the day. Learn more from the Industrial Commission of Arizona. Visit azica.gov/heat. This message is sponsored by the Industrial Commission of Arizona.
Hi, I'm Kim Holderness.
And I'm Penn Holderness. You don't have to have an amazing race to the doctor, but you should make time for routine cancer screenings.
I schedule my mammogram and other cancer screenings around my birthday and then treat myself to lunch.
I do too, because, of course, everyone likes lunch.
The C word can be scary, but routine screenings can detect cancer before symptoms appear.
And early detection equals better outcomes.
Go to preventcancer.org to find out which cancer screenings you need.
He played 8 seasons with the Arizona Cardinals. The Sandman.
Sanders got it! Touchdown, Auburn! Frank Sanders from Dix! Auburn's ahead!
Frank Sanders joins Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. right here on ESPN 620.
2nd and 10. Warner has to go. Fitzgerald into Steeler territory. 30, 20, 10. Arizona has the lead.
Oh, Roc and Manuch with you as our good buddy here, Stump here at Right Toyota, is showing us highlights of Carson Beck from today. I guess he's having a field day.
Money, Rock. He's on the money.
Jacoby Brissett threw a couple picks yesterday. Frank Sanders joins us now here on Roc and Manuch, ESPN Radio 620. All right, we're going to go into the receiver room. You ready? You ready to go in the receiver room, Frank?
Yeah, I'm ready, guys. How you guys doing?
Good, buddy.
Good. Frank?
So, Frank, Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson, both are being talked about as the number 1 receiver. As a former number 1 receiver and number 2 receiver, does that label actually matter inside the room, or is it just something us talk show guys like to dive into for something to fill time in the summer?
It only matters. It doesn't matter that much inside the room unless you have contention and contractual situations that show up that could possibly be a problem down the road. So contractually, yes, it matters. But when it comes to what happens in the room, understanding the offense and what needs to happen, we're just as important. What you want to be as a starting receiver, that determines more and more. That's more important, Rock, than it is to be said, hey, this is receiver 1 versus 1A or 1B. Nope. If you're starting, you're receiver 1. It doesn't matter.
So Wilson went, 1,006 last year, first time in his career. And we know what Marvin Harrison Jr. has done the last few years. Where do you, who's your number 1 right now?
Actually, both of them. They both still got something to prove.
Two number 1.
Well, the number 1 receiver in the room, who's not in the room, is Trey McBride, period.
Okay.
He's number 1. He's receiver 1, 2, and 3 because they really, it's like he's the guy. And he's earned that reputation to be the number 1 guy. He's the number 1 option. But when it comes to these two guys, I'm not going to, we're going to watch and see what happens as the season goes. And again, I'm not ignorant of the fact that Michael finished up the season in a better position. Michael finished the season healthy. Michael also looked like he was receiver number 1 as the last 7 games of the season ended up.
But Frank, Kyler Murray's gone. The dink and dunk's gone. Trey McBride's numbers are going to go way down. You don't have Kyler just dumping it off every 4 or 5 yards because that's all he knows how to do because he can't throw down the field.
Well, that would be the case based upon Drew Petzing's offense, but we got a new sheriff in town, and that guy right there looks like he's going to be a gunslinger to a bunch of people. Like we saw Matthew Stafford and how many people caught the ball, and I think that's a good thing to look at when you have that many options when it comes to what the Arizona Cardinals have. Look, this is a hopeful situation that we have young talent that's athletic and skillful that can actually be playmakers in the NFL, and you don't have to lock in on one guy being receiver number 1. Trey McBride is receiver 1. But when it comes to the options of what the quarterback has, we can look in our room and say, we got players, we got playmakers on the outside that can, that you can spread the ball to. So hopefully these guys step up to the table. This is year 3 and year 4 for these guys, and they should be able to, answer the bell right now. And so if they're arguing about who's receiver 1, it doesn't matter in the spring, summer ball right now. It only matters when game time shows up and when your stats show you had 7 catches for 125 and 2 touchdowns, and the other guy had 1 catch for 5 yards and no touchdowns. Like that's when it starts to matter. But nah. Trey McBride's the guy, and these guys got to prove that they actually want to be receiver 1 in the National Football League.
Frank, you bring up the notion that, Matthew Stafford, the Rams offense, and Nakua, he was the guy last year, and Devontae Adams was kind of relegated to the second fiddle. Well, the second fiddle, Devontae still had 14 touchdown catches last year as the second fiddle. But to your point, you're right. I mean, with this offense, he can spread the ball around, that being Nathaniel Hackett or LaFleur, to the point where if you read him right, okay, Michael gets his, Marv Jr. gets his, Higbee got his for the Rams, Trey McBride gets his, you spread it around. But I think this offense with Jeremiah Love is an added dimension, because I don't think the Rams had a running back / receiver come out of the backfield like Jeremiah Love. So that just goes to show you that Rams offense, Devontae Adams, number 2 receiver, still had 14 touchdown catches last year.
And I'll tell you, that's the money ball right there, right? Like, it looked like he couldn't do no wrong until he got hurt. And once he got hurt, that changed the narrative of what they were, the 1-2 punch offensively. But you're absolutely right, man. Like, that's the beauty of having a coach that can actually come out and call plays, spread the ball around, have a veteran quarterback that can actually see the defense and just trust what's being called from an offensive standpoint, trusting your offensive coordinator, trusting that they see what you see and they're putting you in the right position. I'm excited about the talent we have. I'm excited about what the Cardinals have, talent-wise, from the receiver position, tight end spot, with even Elijah Higgins. I'm excited what we have. What we do on Sundays and how they go out and play is my concern. What I've seen thus far in practice and how I've seen guys go out and make plays, the deep ball has been definitely one of the things you would have noticed. Totally different than it was last year. This does not look like a dink and dunk offense in practice. These guys are catching the ball from the backfield as well as down the field. So those are things that you could be hopeful about. Now, how that transitions on Sunday is definitely what is our concern from a fan and from a fan standpoint. But I'm excited about what I'm seeing thus far with the spreading of the ball and the guys going out and making plays.
Frank, I can't remember over the years of having such a versatile running back that can run routes, catch, run the football like Jeremiah Love. Now, I can think back to Metcalf a little bit, going back a few years ago. I think he might have been playing when you are. But have you seen this kind of a running back, this kind of a 5-tool, 6-tool running back like Jeremiah Love in recent history with the Cardinals coming out of the backfield?
I'm not going to knock what guys – well, I would say what Jeremiah Love shows us is definitely an improvement and some excitement that, this fan base should be licking their chops and excited to buy tickets and ready to get in the stadium and see how great of an athlete he can be. I mean, when we saw Bijan Robinson coming out, we're seeing that same potential possibility in Jeremiah Love. And Bijan Robinson is considered potentially the number one, NFL player in the league this year, just based upon what he was able to do last year. Offensively, I believe the sky's the ceiling with Jeremiah Love, and we got to make sure that we protect him. We give him up front some linemen that can actually, be excited about what he brings to the table. Give him just a sliver, let him cut through that lane, and let him get down the field. But I'm excited about what he brings to the table. There's a lot of stuff that we just do not know, and what we haven't seen in the last couple of years from the running back room that he brings to the table that should be really exciting.
Frank Sanders joining us here, Roc and Manuch. When you look at Larry Fitzgerald, of course, Thursday, first game of the season, Saturday, the Sun is going to present him. Talk about Frank, and I know you have a relationship with him. What made him such a great player?
Honestly, I'm probably going to be crying watching the the Hall of Fame ceremony when he comes up.
It's not Rudy. It's not like it's Rudy. I mean, come on.
No. But when you look at all the things, man, like his dad not being there, his son bringing him in, he played for the Cardinals consistently. He didn't leave when he had an opportunity potentially to. He stayed here, and he fought for the fan base. He honored and respected his contract. He left nothing on the field in regards to what it means to be a teammate, what it means to be a player in the NFL. But more, when it comes to me inside that wide receiver room, one of the best examples I had was Rob Moore. And I think that, Larry and himself and what he did, how he came to work, how he was able to produce and be productive, given the circumstance and the situation. Like, you're talking about, I say, repeatedly, I probably had about 6 to 7 quarterbacks. Larry had 15 to 14 quarterbacks he played with at his time here with the Arizona Cardinals. And that's not like Jerry Rice bragging about, I had Steve Young and Joe Montana for 12 years. Like, that's a different conversation. And so, but what he's done and, what he's been able to do, Larry himself, man, he didn't cheat us. He didn't cheat us in no kind of way. He didn't take anything for granted, and he didn't cheat us. And I'm saying taking it for granted. He's the son that was around the Minnesota Vikings growing up, and he could have been he was a ball boy, and he sat around Chris Carter and other guys, and he could have learned a lot of bad ways, but he took the good stuff and implemented it into his game. And then he became a good, then he went to Pittsburgh, and he played well there and became a first-round draft pick. But he didn't cheat nobody in Pittsburgh. He came to the Arizona Cardinals. He didn't cheat us here. When he had Anquan Bolin out here that was already balling, and he still came up and, did his thing, and he stayed here doing that. So there's so many things to admire about what he's been able to do, and to see him get in the Hall of Fame from the receiver position from the Arizona Cardinals, given all the stuff he had to do and deal with, and still just stayed Larry. Like, he's still Larry. Like, if you knew him then, he's still Larry. He's Fitzgerald, HOF, but he's still Larry, and I think that's, one of the great things about him that you can admire and appreciate.
It's interesting you bring up the quarterbacks. He must have had like 11 to 90 quarterbacks over the years. And, to your point, you know what, Frank? He never complained. He just showed up. Who's ever in there, it's in there. It's kind of like his unwritten rule was he could give you that look, is what John Skelton would tell us, and say, like, look, if you're in trouble or whatever, just put it up. I'll go get it. But to that point, anything in his neighborhood, he caught it. That's the amazing thing. I think his very first catch against Aeneas Williams, he high pointed against Aeneas when Aeneas was with the Rams. If that ball was in his neighborhood, it was his.
Yeah, Larry's considered to have those, like, when you'll catch a couple guys and former Hall of Famers and some of the greatest receivers ever played the game, and they literally ask who had the best hands. It goes Chris Carter, Larry Fitzgerald, or it's debatable between Larry Fitzgerald and Chris Carter. If you had the biggest hands, of course, we know that is, my boy that left out of here, that was, he had the widest hands that came out of the Texans, and we just DeAndre Hopkins. We know that, but when it comes to D-Hop, right. And so, but when it comes to best receivers, best hands in the game, it goes Chris Carter, Larry Fitz, or you can swap them, with D-Hops, because they made some of the best catches you ever see in the game. And so, again, Larry didn't cheat us, man. Like, he gave us everything, and I think that is to be honored and be respected and it is respected across the league. His character, his display of, what he was able to do as a teammate. And, again, when you're not winning, it's a different feeling. It's a different vibe. If you're on a winning team, it's a different feeling. It's a different appreciation. And it's totally different when you're not winning. And Larry never made it seem like he wasn't winning. And I think that part is the best part you can ever respect about what he's done. And everything that he gets, he earned it.
Should he have a statue out at State Farm Stadium?
I wouldn't be mad at it. Absolutely, I wouldn't be mad at it. When you come to look at, the guys that do have statues, or the men that wore that uniform that the Cardinals have honored, you look at what they've done for the Cardinals organization, what they've done in the community, what they've meant to the game of football, in the history of Cardinals. I would not be mad at it if he had a statue out there because of the stuff he's done. And he stayed in the Valley. It's just too many things. So yeah, I would not be mad at it.
Because there aren't a lot of guys that are in the Hall. I think Cards have like 22, 23 players that have ties to Arizona Cardinals that are in the Hall of Fame. And I think Larry Wilson would be the only guy that I can think of off the top of my head that maybe didn't play for another team. Did he?
True. That's exactly right. Yeah.
So you wonder what they could do for Larry, what the Bidwells could do for him to really take this and take to another. Like, we know about Kurt Warner, of course, but Kurt Warner, come on, he's a Ram. And Aeneas Williams, he's a Ram. We can go Dan Deerdorf. We can go on and on. But Larry's different, man. It's like, I don't know, name a couple streets after him. I don't know, something.
The Fitzgerald way.
I mean, the whole concourse. I mean, something. I mean, just to keep him involved with the organization, let him be that true ambassador. I just think that the Cardinals, hopefully, I'm sure there's some smart people over there. Hopefully, they're sitting around a big boardroom and they're like, hey, what can we do? And money's not a factor. I hope there's some input from you guys too, you ambassadors, you and Banks, and then all these other guys that know Larry, and Larry would be humbled by it too. Not that he would want it at all either.
And that's the funny thing about that, right? Like you just, the last part you said is absolutely the Larry Fitzgerald that we do know, because he's the same guy that didn't have a press conference when he was retiring. He just walked away from the game, like that's it, and moved on with the other things he wanted to do in his life. So anything that he does would be humbling and very, very appreciative. Anything that the Cardinals do would be humbling and appreciative. But I think that I think he understands that he himself is coming off the backs of people that came before him. And there are so many other people that might be more deserving in situations that he will look at upon himself and say, man, there might be somebody else that might be more deserving. But I mean, knowing the guy like I know him, I think anything that the Cardinals do is going to be a humbling situation, and it'll be appreciated, because I think he's one of those guys that just, he's one of those guys, man, that just, he understands he's been blessed, and he's been highly fortunate, man, to come through the family that he had, his dad and his mom, the way they raised him, to meet the coaches and the players that he played with, and amongst those guys that poured into his life and allowed him, to really see something special in him, and then allow him to go out and do something that he fell in love with, which is the game of football.
How cool it would be. I mean, he's a money guy. He's done great things with the money he has saved and invested. We know his partnership with Robert Sarver, the Phoenix Suns back in the day. And if he can find some investors, man, go and say, hey, Michael, we're gonna take this team off your hands. You had a good run. Now it's time. Let's get some new blood in there.
Whoa.
Please.
Now you're pushing it, Rock. Whoa. Now you're pushing it.
Wishful
thinking. Calm down.
Can't slip anything by you, huh, Frank?
Wishful thinking.
Yeah, not that. Look, you're not gonna slip anything by talking about selling the team. Mike's not selling the team unless it's really, really worth it. He is.
Start a rumor. Come on. Start a rumor.
Michael Bidwell is a historian, just like his dad is. Yeah. And he's a historian, man. So this team and what it means to him and his family.
$10 billion. $10 billion. $10 billion is worth.
Nah, it's gonna have to be way more than something. It's gonna be something that he has to know that the NFL is going in a different direction, and that it's something that he cannot continually allow his name and his family heritage to be a part of that. I would think that this is Frank Sanders. That's my personal, but
I agree with that.
I'd be hard pressed to watch him sell this team, man, when it has so much value to him and what it means. And I think his true desire, honestly, is if he won a Super Bowl, then maybe. But I think that would be something he would love to honor his dad with and his mom with, family-wise, of winning a Super Bowl in the National Football League.
We love you, Frank. Talk to you later. I can't wait to get your thoughts on how Saturday goes. That'll be a lot of fun. So.
That's going to be a lot of fun, especially listening to you, what you going to say.
Always a mystery, Frank. Always a mystery.
Yes.
So you're saying Michael Bidwell, you saw Michael this weekend. You're saying that he may consider selling the team. Is that what you're saying there, Frank?
Not at all, sir.
Yeah, somebody's just tuning in right now. That's all they hear,
Right.
See you, buddy.
Good job, Rock. Thank you.
You guys. Good job.
Thanks, Frank.
That's Frank Sanders. Of course, joining us here on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
Wishful thinking, Ron.
He's presented by All City Towing, Arizona's largest towing company. And they're hiring drivers, dispatchers, customer service pros, great pay, benefits, even a monthly fuel allowance. You can apply today at allcitytowing.com. That's All City Towing, where your future is always on the move. All right, we had Fouhy on, back out of being on the IR, and he talked about the Dodgers and Major League Baseball next season. So we'll get into that next. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Right Toyota.
Let me remind you, Thursdays are where the weekend starts at Twin Peaks Restaurant. Grab an ice-cold Bud Light or a refreshing Michelob Ultra and catch wall-to-wall sports on massive TVs everywhere you look. Big games, cold beer, made from scratch food. Start your weekend early with Bud Light and Michelob Ultra. Thursdays at Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, and scenic views. Bigger fields, bigger events, bigger experiences. Arizona Athletic Grounds. Arizona Athletic Grounds is a 275-acre sports and entertainment destination for athletes, fans, and families. Located in Mesa, AAG is one of the largest multi-sport complexes in the country, with over 475,000 square feet indoors and more than 150 fields and courts. From tournaments to training to cheer, dance, concerts, and corporate events, the Grounds does it all. Learn more at azgrounds.com.
Looking for a new ride? Make the right choice. Ride Honda in Scottsdale. Whether you're shopping for a fuel-efficient Civic, a family-friendly CRV, the rugged Passport, or the all-new Accord, Ride Honda has the selection, value, and customer service Arizona drivers trust. Plus, their experienced service team is here long after the sale. Visit the showroom on Scottsdale Road just south of Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard or shop anytime at RightHonda.com. That's RightHonda.com, where Arizona drives. Right Honda.
Hey, Arizona State football fans. London is calling. The Sun Devils are headed across the pond to face Kansas in the inaugural Union Jack Classic, September 19th at Wembley Stadium. It's the first college football game ever played there, and you should be part of it. For tickets, hospitality, and travel packages, visit UnionJackClassic.com or contact the Sun Devil ticket office. Join Coach Dillingham, Sparky, and the Sun Devils in London. Forks up.
Living and having fun in the hot summer sun can turn deadly when mixed with stimulants. Stimulant drugs raise body temperature, impair the brain's ability to regulate heat, and makes it harder for the heart to cope with extreme heat. Studies show 1 in 5 heat-related deaths have involved meth, a stimulant that overheats the body, putting users at higher risk. Be aware and stay safe. Meth and heat is a deadly mix. Visit thenewmeth.com.
Sponsored by the Substance Awareness Coalition Leaders of Arizona.
I work for the Arizona Department of Public Safety Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Unit. Any idea why I stopped you today?
No, sir.
I stopped you for distracted driving. Arizona law prohibits the use of electronic devices unless they're hands-free. Truck drivers see everything, except their blind spots. Cutting off a truck is like cutting off a freight train. It's dangerous, so stay focused on the road. Visit sharetheroadaz.com to learn how to drive truck smart.
Sponsored by the Arizona Trucking Association Foundation and the Arizona Governor's Office of Highway Safety.
It's the Lerner and Rowe one call, that's all call of the day. If you're looking for a full service law firm, just make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. Lerner and Rowe, voted Arizona's best law firm.
Well, what's over is Major League Baseball next year. It's done. There will not be a season. That was the trade over the weekend that put the owners over the top, right? You get Scooble out there with the Dodgers, and now all the owners are going, you know what, screw this. We're going to put in a salary cap. We're going to put in a salary limit, a bottom floor, and we're going to do it whether the players want it or not. The players are digging in. They don't want it. So even beyond the Dodgers winning this year, yes, they will again. They'll win the West. But I think we're seeing the end of baseball for 2027. I don't think we're going to see a start on time at all, maybe even not a season.
Craig Fouhy earlier on the program for Factor Fouhy. If you missed any of our guests today, you can just download the Arizona Sports app, go to RocManuch.com and click on that. You can find our podcasts, our interviews today. We had Rudy Carpenter on the program. You just heard Frank Sanders, Barry Bloom, and of course Craig Fouhy. But our Lerner Row one call, that's all, and that was Fouhy. And if you've been injured in an accident, don't try to handle it alone. Lerner Row has been voted Arizona's best personal law firm year after year. Interact, check, make one call. That's all. 602-977-1900. I don't agree with the pundits.
I don't either.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think baseball's it's going to figure it out. They have too much to lose. They learned a big lesson the last time there was a strike.
And
I can't imagine. I was in the early 90s. Right?
Yeah, it was 94.
Yeah, I was in AAA baseball at the time.
And that was them pretty much, was I think, end of August, September. No World Series that year. And there was another strike. I remember it was only maybe during spring training. Obviously, there was the whole COVID, but then the strike prior to that. My whole feeling is the owners created this monster. And now they want to stop it with a hard cap. And good for the Dodgers or Yankees or Phillies or Cubs, whoever want to go spend the money to go get those players during this trade deadline. And if you want to go get players, period, to make sure that they figure they have a ball club that can win a title. I mean, that's why you show up. That's what fans hope springs eternal, right? And I think the biggest thing, this hard cap scenario, the players will dig their heels in, owners will dig their heels in, to your point. I hope there's some kind of compromise. Is it revenue sharing? Because what the players are saying is, hey, look, we've got this phenomenal team. We're all getting paid really good money, and we have a chance to win a pennant. And on the other side, the owners are saying, well, we got to keep up with the market. Well, excuse me, you're the ones that paid these guys. You created this market. You created the monster. Genie's out of the bottle. I mean, how are you gonna reel this back after the owners from not, adhering to some of it, and some of these other teams going, well, we're going to play budget ball. We never have a chance. Well, you could still pay the money because you're billionaires. I mean, I just failed to realize that some of these owners can't pay some of these guys to be competitive.
But I understand when you go back in time and you go back to the 94-95 season, the strike, it started in August. And as you mentioned, the World Series was canceled. And it didn't end until April the following year.
Right.
Okay, so 232 games. And then that season was cut. And the fight was over a salary cap. And then the lockout was in 21 and 22. And that was 99 days. But that was December into March. That's what I think we're going to see.
Yes.
We'll see some challenges. Who cares about it then?
Yeah.
We're not missing any baseball. And that season was restored to a full 162 games.
And it was on the verge of they were talking about canceling. But if you miss spring training, majority of it, they can make that up. So I got to imagine some kind of compromise. We'll catch up with Jerry Harrison Jr. of the Dodgers on Friday.
The villain.
We'll get his thoughts on how close or yet they are as far as the hard line strike.
What do we got coming up tomorrow?
Tomorrow, Jordy Jackson will join us. We'll catch up with Anish Shroff, the play-by-play voice for the Carolina Panthers. Yogi Roth, the roommate of Larry Fitzgerald at the University of Pittsburgh. And then Bob McManaman, Arizona Republic columnist, talking Cardinals, Larry, D-backs, a plethora.
Special thanks to Wright Toyota. Laz, good job today. For Manuch and Roc, have a great night. See you back here at 1 o'clock on ESPN Radio 620.
At Train, tough comes standard. But real strength isn't just muscle. It's knowing when to flex. HVAC units tough enough for the extremes, but smart enough to know what's next.